What's up? Welcome to the Prophecy Podcast, Obese the Prophet. I am a co-host tonight as of yet, but he is on the way. So shout out Justin Martin. Hopefully he shows up some point before the podcast actually ends. So we want to get into the sponsors as I always do. First and foremost, the Prophecy Podcast is brought to you by mpcstuff.com. They got hundreds of replacement and upgrade products for your MPCs. They even have some native instruments mush shirts as well. So hit them up. They got great quality, and I respect our partners here at the podcast tremendously. So also sponsored by I Regret Nothing Apparel. The best social messages I've seen, a lot of quality materials, designs. We're proud to have them as a sponsor. We love that they're a Black-owned main small business. It doesn't really get any better than that. Fire on 4, always they're bringing us our smoke break. They're located at 367 4th Street in the heart of Portland, Maine's Old Port. Ultrafine cannabis products and a super friendly and knowledgeable staff will provide you with all your medical cannabis needs. Don't forget to check out audioandvisual.com if you're looking for music videos, graphic design, mixing, mastering, production, pretty much anything. Website. Be sure to check out elevateaudioandvisual.com for more information. What's happened in Boston? They always bring you all the events that are going on in Boston and the other New England areas. They're a great supporter of Bars Over Bars, and we love that we have them as a sponsor as well. And of course, Bars Over Bars. Without them, the show wouldn't be happening. Without further ado, and tonight's guest, super talented MC. Monday of the Minds, like mastermind, and all around great guy, aLunarlanding.
What's up, dude?
How's it going, man?
How you doing? Oh, not too bad. Just hanging out on the floor here.
Nice. Looks comfy.
Oh yeah, we got redoing the floors in the other room, which is where I usually set up all my stuff. So everything's in the bedroom right now.
Aha. So steady improving.
Yeah, trying to spruce up the house a little bit.
Sweet. So I don't know if you caught some of the episodes of podcast before, kind of how it goes, but we kind of go back and forth. So start with a little bit about music and you, and then we move to something completely different, and so on and so forth. So usually we just start off by letting everybody know kind of who you are, where you started, how you started, self-story, how you got your name, all that good stuff. Why don't you let them know?
Cool. My name's Dan. I go by aLunarlanding. Born and raised in South Florida. Been in Maine for going on about 6 years now. Lived in Wisconsin for a little bit. Lived in the mountains of North Carolina for a little bit. Lived in New York for 6 months. Lived in a couple different places in Florida. Started making music when I was in Wisconsin. Buddy of mine named Chris used to make beats in his dorm room, and he and I played football together there. And I would just kind of sit in his dorm room while he was making beats. And one day he's like, "Why don't you rap?" And I was like, I'd been listening to rap for a while, and doing the thing where like I rap in my room. I'm like, oh yeah, this is so fucking cool, man. And then I was in the room with him, and then he's like, rap, and I was like, oh shit, yeah. And so just started freestyling with him back and forth, and we started doing that like every day. Like we'd meet up in his dorm room, and that's what we would do, even to the point where we both stopped playing football. I had blown out my knee my freshman year, and then played sophomore year, and just it wasn't anything. It was D3, and I was like, this isn't going anywhere. I'm not going to do this anymore. And we would just hang out and do that. So that really got me going. And then I moved back to Florida because I wasn't playing football anymore. So I was like, I'm not going to live up here in Wisconsin anymore. It's really cold, which is funny now because I decided to buy a house in Maine and live up here. But, I went back to Florida, and a buddy of mine was making music at the time in Tallahassee. He was going to Florida State, and he asked me to jump on a song with him. And I did, and then we just kind of kept it moving from there and started doing shows, and did my first show down there, and we would play around town in Tallahassee, and then it ended up playing in Orlando, and then moved up here, and with a stop in North Carolina for a little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's cool. So how did you come about getting your name? Was it always aLunarlanding, or did you start off as something else, or what?
Yeah, no, when we first started, I was in a group with my buddy, and at that time, because this was probably like 2008, maybe 2000, yeah, about 2008. Everybody was doing like an initial and the name, so like I just went with D Moon, and he was Myco, and like that, that was it. And then I just did that for a while, and we were in a group called 40 Long, and then when I came up here is when I started with aLunarlanding, and it was more, my last name's Moon. So it was kind of keeping with that. And then it was more of just like aLunarlanding was kind of like a thing that I can do all of my artistic stuff under. So I could draw, I can, I could, make comics, I could write and do all that kind of stuff. And it was just kind of all encompassing. But, I didn't realize that like it's harder for people to say. Like aLunarlanding is a mouthful for some people. And for a while it took a long time before like on any flyers, unless I made the flyer, like that it would be like spelled correctly, because I do it like a lowercase a, capital L, all one word, and like it'd be on there as like aLunarlanding, it'd be on there as like aLunar, like it was it was so many different things. It took a couple years before it got right.
Yeah, I had that happen a few times too, from here or there. Like people would spell obese wrong. I don't know how they got that wrong, but people would spell it OBEASE sometimes. I even got that's not even how you spell it. Like, what's up with that?
Yeah, I don't think that's a word.
Profit, instead of spelling it like biblical profit, they spell it like getting money, profit.
Oh, got
like
you.
That kind. So like back in the day, yeah, when you didn't have as much social media and shit like that to connect, it was basically word of mouth a lot of times. You'd be like, oh, who's that producer? We used to profit, or aLunarlanding. People like, they just hear it and they're like, oh, and then they just kind of spell it their own way. You know what I mean? So
yeah,
that happens. But I love the name. It's not that hard for me to say. And
yeah, I don't think it's that hard to say, but some people have told me like, damn, that's difficult.
Nah. But yeah, so you said about 2008 you started with the music stuff. Basically, he was making beats and you're just like, I'm gonna start doing this.
No, that was probably like 2006, because I graduated high school in 2005. So that was probably like end of 2005, beginning of 2006 that I started with Chris. It was probably 2008 that I actually started like doing shows and stuff like that. So it was a couple of years of just like freestyling back and forth, just having fun, like making shit up, like whatever, learning how to like be on a beat, like learn, like watching a buddy of mine who's like musically inclined, like make a beat and like see what goes into it and all of that kind of stuff, and just kind of studying that before like we actually went out. And then I had to learn how to like be on stage and like, which is a whole nother ball game. Yeah, it's a whole nother ball game.
Yeah, memorizing songs and having to know
everything. Oh yeah, for sure.
One of the hardest parts of it all. Because writing and getting it recorded is probably the funnest. Usually is the funnest part, you know what I'm saying? Boom, boom, you're creating, and then it's like, now comes, I have to know this stuff, and like, yeah, doing stage presence, what the fuck you're actually doing while you're up there is a hard thing to do.
For me, it's the opposite now, though. Like writing and recording is not fun for me. I don't like, the studio's cool. Like I'm fine in the studio, like it's whatever. But like I love performing. Like that's the fun part. I write music now so that I can go perform it. Like that's, like before it was not like that. Before it was, I'm in the studio, and then the shows were like nerve-wracking. But once I got good at, like once I figured it out, shows are the most fun. You know.
Yeah, like first starting off, it's something that's really difficult to fucking take a grasp.
For sure.
Obviously, you've got a lot of charisma and shit to be able to be out there, and you're obviously, when you go and watch performances by you, it's obvious that you're comfortable out there and
Yeah.
happy with what you're doing. And it shows, you know, with the quality of shows that you're putting out too. I was watching that performance that you had done for them and stuff. They did a good job with that video production wise too. It came out,
Yeah, that was James Wayland, dude.
yeah, I
Super
like it.
talented dude.
Came out super dope. But yeah, so we'll get more into the shows a little bit. But for now, we're gonna get into what we usually talk about, some recent strange news or weird shit or whatever.
Cool.
So I had a couple weird stories here. So there was a 13-year-old hospitalized after setting herself on fire attempting a TikTok stunt. So 13-year-old Destiny Crane from Portland, Oregon was rushed to intensive care unit. She accidentally set herself on fire attempting to recreate a stunt she saw on TikTok. Her daughter, together with one of her friends on May 13th, her mother was there chatting in the living room with a friend, and her daughter was with her friends in the bathroom. They're doing something, laughing, blah, blah, blah. Suddenly they're screaming. She rushed out of the bathroom, and she was on fire. Everything in the bathroom was on fire.
Oh, shit.
Yeah, so she managed to get her outside and like roll her around on the ground and put the fire out. Called them, they'll come in there. So how did it all happen? She hasn't really been able to speak since the accident, but it's pretty clear how the events proceeded. So first clue comes from her sister. She said that Destiny's friend kept screaming about how they were filming TikToks while Destiny was on fire. Secondly, there were some items in the bathroom that clarified the situation further. So there was a cat bottle of rubbing alcohol sitting on the counter, and the whole side of it had busted open. There was a lighter and a broken candle. So they pretty much patched together what happened there. After watching TikTok, they found some videos of people doing the same kind of shit in their bathrooms and everywhere else, and like trying to set this rubbing alcohol on fire. So this is just like another one of those things that happens, you know, with the kids. It was like Tide Pods, and then it was like, you know, all this crazy shit, and it makes you wonder sometimes. I mean, I know kids are kids and whatever, but I mean, how much regulation and shit should they be allowing videos on TikTok, you know, or should they not? Like, that's a question of like, you know, freedom of speech or whatever. But if it lends to this kind of stuff happening, how important is it to, I think, kind of police what's going on these things and not try to get people to buy into it? You know what I'm saying? They see something like that, they should take it down, be like, look, but instead they kind of just let it. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, growing up, like, you know, I grew up when we had Jackass. Like, we watched Jackass on MTV, and like, I remember people were trying Jackass shit all the time, like rolling each other down hills in shopping carts, like, you know, like everything, like jumping off of rooftops into mattresses. Like, you know, people were trying Jackass shit all the time. The thing about it was, at that time, you only really saw Jackass on MTV, because YouTube wasn't really a huge thing. Like, all the, you know, the social media wasn't really a huge thing, so it didn't spread that way. And you also couldn't go viral from doing something dumb. Like, you know, they had figured it out. You know, there's obviously like underground tapes and stuff like that, but now you see something, you imitate it, you videotape it, you put it up on YouTube or TikTok or wherever, and it goes viral. You get a little bit of fame. Like, so people are chasing that kind of like, you know, fame. But I'm not one for many regulations. I think that all that kind of stuff starts in the home. And so, you know, the parent, as a parent nowadays, you know what's on the internet, you know. Like, you got to be able to like look at your kid and be like, hey, you're gonna be on the internet, you're gonna see some wild and crazy shit. That does not mean that you should try it, you know. And also, you know, also building up their self-worth away from the likes and the views and all that kind of stuff, you know, because it's really hard nowadays for kids, especially young kids, like middle school and stuff like that. That's where the social like hierarchies are coming in, is how many followers do you have? How many likes did your video get? You know, and they're judging themselves based on that. It's really important to pull them out of that and be like, hey, this is not real. Like, it's not real life, you know?
No, exactly. Yeah, totally agree. My thing is, you know, at 13, you know, it kind of does fall into the parents' lap. You know what I'm saying? Because the girl's 13 years old at this point. She should probably know you should be doing that shit. And with the mother right there, being that she was like in the same house and everything.
Yeah.
Too. Just kind of, you know, is the reason why. But yeah, as far as regulation is like, I don't see what I'm talking about. Regulation, okay, don't just, you know, stop every video from going out.
Right.
But if something like this comes out, you know, as a company that's having this platform or whatever for people to see, at least say something.
Yeah.
At least do a little something after the you know, not when it's first, okay, cool, whatever. But if this happens and it makes news and say, look, we don't condone what's happening here, but it is the platform that we've provided, and you know, it should be really fall on, you know, parenting and whatever else, common sense and shit. You basically you do at your own risk, kind of like the Jackass.
Yeah, like right in the beginning of Jackass. Yeah.
That I can see when you go on TikTok that says, hey, if you see a dumb video, someone's burning shit, don't do it because you get hurt. And sometimes people need that, even though you think you shouldn't need that.
Right.
But yeah, same thing. Grew up in the era of Jackass. Matter of fact, I was just watching it the other day.
I think they're coming out with a new one.
Right. They are. Just watching like the second one the other day to show the kids the dumb shit that we watch. And for me, it wasn't like going some, like you said, some people go out and do the dumb shit and they'd be like, oh yeah, I want to go do that. For me, I like to watch it and know that I didn't have to do it and laugh and be like, that's
the same thing.
Never catch me doing it.
No. I was not somebody that wanted to like try to do that shit, you know. But I have seen on TikTok now certain videos, there will be like little disclaimers at the bottom that says something like, this is done by professionals for demonstration purposes. Now, I don't know if the creators put that there themselves or if TikTok puts it there. But I have noticed that, which I think is a good thing. I do think having disclaimers is a good thing. Like on Jackass, before they got into anything, that screen popped up, you know, don't try this at home.
CKY, that other stuff that they've been doing for a while, that's kind of like was like viral before the internet was. I remember trying to find when the internet first came out, going on those fucking websites and trying to download the DVD rips of the CKY shit because it was so funny. And like that's kind of like what was our generation of like what they got for like the stupid shit on TikTok and everything else that they do. Back then it was just a different vibe, but still had the same effect. Like you said, certain people would just wild out and try to do the shit. But yeah, like little disclaimers I think will help. And just because I feel like, you know, they should take a little responsibility. They're out here making money. They're out here for sure. You know, allowing this to kind of go on, at least put some disclaimers up, like, look, you're going to see some weird shit, blah, blah, blah. Because some people, parents, especially a little older than we are, you know, maybe in their 40s or something like that, parents are sometimes unaware, you know, that this is really happening on this. They think TikTok is just, the kids show them, hey, look at a funny video, and that's all they know. Right. They don't know the other shit that's going on there. So just
that's true.
To be involved, like you said, and try to see everything that's happening with the kids and shit. All right, so let's see. We got so let's discuss your first project and like your influences early on. Like if you were pulling influence from people to create your style kind of in a way, and what your first projects were. We talked a little bit about it earlier, but what was the process like doing that? And did you have any music like inkling before this? Did you play like were you in a band, or did you do choir, or like play any instruments in school or anything?
No, I never was like musically inclined. I remember when I was like 15 years old, my dad bought me a guitar and like gave me the guitar. And at that point I was playing hockey and football all the time. And I was like, I don't want to play this guitar. And looking back now, I wish that I had done that, because I would have been much cooler than I am. But you know, like I think my dad knew that. My dad was probably like, hey, he's 15 now. Hey, if you play this guitar, I think maybe 14. He's like, if you play this guitar and you get good at it, it's going to be fucking cool for you. And you know, but all I was concerned about was like playing football and playing hockey. And so I didn't touch it or anything like that, but I was always a writer. Like I always wrote short stories, poems. I was always drawing. I've been doing that since I was, you know, able to hold a pencil. So the lyricism is something that I've always been doing. And then, you know, when the music kind of came around, it was very like the early on, like the group that I was in, it was very much like college music, party music. Like we were, because that's what we were doing. We were 22 years old, 21, 22 years old, and we were partying hard at Florida State University and University of Central Florida, which was where I was. And that's what we were writing about, you know? And so, you know, there was still like an emphasis on like being clever and stuff like that, but there wasn't as much of an emphasis. Like we had certain songs that were more introspective, but like it wasn't as much of an emphasis on like figuring out who I am and like and all that kind of stuff. It was more just like, we're gonna go out and have the best fucking time ever, and it's gonna be great, you know. And that's how kind of the performances would go. I think our first show that we did ever, we opened up for Dirt Nasty and Andre Legacy, which they're very much that vibe. And I'll never forget, there was this lady in the crowd. It's the first time I ever been on stage in my life. It was like, my heart was like, pump, 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 pump. Like it was crazy. And this woman was in the crowd and she was giving us the finger. Our entire 20-minute set was flipping us off, our whole 20-minute set. And like, I couldn't not look at her. Like I was like trying to like walk the stage and like, but she was just standing right in the middle, just giving us the finger the whole time. And I was like, damn, this is the first time on stage right now. And I'd like to say it got better from there, but you know how it is when you first start off. Like, you know, that show we opened up for a decent name, so there was a big crowd. Our next show that we did, it was only the bartenders. You know what I mean? And we got up there and you perform. You know, it's like, and then it's just how it goes. And then to the point where we ended up, you know, like we recorded we recorded an album and a mixtape, and that was the point, like where mixtapes were like everyone was just like grabbing like industry beats and like rapping over them and like putting out mixtapes like that. So we did that and ended up getting to the point where we opened up for Afro Man, which was really cool. And that was like a lot of fun. And then I was living in Orlando, and then my buddy moved to Orlando because we mostly made music in Tallahassee. And we started doing stuff in Orlando. And anyone who's not familiar, Orlando has an incredible hip hop scene. Incredibly talented people. I mean, Swanberger's Soliloquist of Sound, Da Vinci's from there. Like that's like, and it was my first experience of watching a local scene and how it thrives, you know, seeing, and I wouldn't even say, like, we did some shows and stuff like that, but I was definitely more of like a spectator of watching people do their shit, you know, and, you know, like, and it was incredible, you know, like meeting up, you know, with Swanberger, him giving me a stack of flyers and like, all right, go hit up these places and flyer this stuff for these shows coming up. And like seeing how it worked, seeing how people showed up to support each other, seeing how, you know, this person's doing this show over here, all the same faces are there. You know what I mean? And like this show's over here, all the same faces are there. They're all supporting each other like that. And I met one of my best friends to this day doing a show there. My buddy Derwin, who goes by 200 records a day. And I watched him. He was in the scene. Like I watched him navigate the scene because we ended up living together, and I learned an incredible amount from him as far as like the hustle to like, he was always recording. He was always writing. He was always in his room with the door shut, getting at it. You know, he was always at the open mics, you know, going to open mics and turning that into shows, you know, by meeting people and networking. And I learned a lot of what I did here in Maine. I learned from watching him in Orlando and watching people like E-Turn and MIM and, you know, Ill Tribe down there. Like it was definitely, there was so much learning that I did down there that benefited me when I came up here.
Yeah, so that's good. You were really doing a lot of shit down there before you came up here.
Yeah, but I mean, we were, you know, we did a lot, and then it got to a point where as I was like watching people, you know, because everywhere you go, there's different like segments of the scene. There's more poppy stuff, there's more underground stuff, there's more, you know, and even just in hip hop in general, and people do their shows in different places. And I was watching my buddy Derwin navigate the more like lyrical side of the scene. And I was like, damn, like this is dope. Like, these people are really fucking talented. Like, no rapping over vocals, no, like, everyone's out there doing their thing. People jumping up. A freestyle is a freestyle off the top of the head, you know, like, this is what it was, you know?
Yeah.
And so it got to a point where I was just, I wasn't a partier anymore. I was getting older. I was 25 years old, kind of getting out of college now. And I didn't want to rap about it. I didn't feel authentic rapping about getting fucked up because I was not getting fucked up anymore, you know?
Yeah.
And so I kind of took, you know, me and my buddy Mike kind of went our separate ways as far as music goes, you know, still a great friend to this day. And I kind of went like on a journey myself. A friend of mine, I was working at a hotel in Orlando, and a buddy of mine messaged me one day, said, "Hey, I'm going to be in Seattle." He had just finished up in Burning Man, and he was up in Seattle, and he's like, you know, my girlfriend's flying home to New York. You want to meet me in Seattle and drive back with me in my van? And I was like, all right, cool. And I quit my job, you know, told Derwin, like, hey, I'm going to be out of here. I'm going to pay next month's rent too, but I'm not coming back. You know, I'm going to go out here. And so I took the money I had, I packed up my shit, flew out to Seattle, and met up with my buddy, and we spent a month on the road coming back to New York, and just kind of seeing things and just kind of existing.
Yeah.
And then ended up back in Miami. I was living at home, and my grandmother called me and asked if I would come live with her in North Carolina to take care of her, essentially, because she didn't want to come down to Miami to get her dialysis and her chemo and stuff like that. She wanted to live where she was living, and she wasn't able to do that by herself. And so I moved up there and ended up spending 7 months up there with her, taking care of her. And that's kind of where, you know, because it was just her and I in a town of 300, you know, average age probably in the town was like 65. And so, you know, I was I was alone a lot of the time. And that's kind of where like the aLunarlanding stuff started to like germinate. You know, I would be up in the loft, just kind of writing stuff and figuring it out, and studying, you know, different people. That's where I think I discovered like Homeboy Sandman and stuff like that, and just like listening to people rap about their life and not necessarily having to sensationalize anything.
Yeah, just being real.
Yeah, and just, you know, telling their story and their thoughts and their fears and all that kind of stuff, and just being very honest, you know, and still being dope as hell. I think Homeboy Sandman is one of the dopest MCs that there is out. But yeah, that's where a lot of that started to happen.
Yeah, so a lot of journeying for you, and
oh yeah,
like growing too as an artist,
for sure.
Because when I first heard about you was like the earlier stuff you did when you first came up here to Maine, and I had come to Monday of the Minds a couple times with Chris Cooper, and saw you there, and saw a bunch of the other guys there, Tree Lock, and some other people that are always kind of, that will always seem like they're always out there, and yeah, it was just kind of like, you know, when I first saw you, I was like, this guy was like, he's kind of like got a different style. I'm like, this is you know, I want to hear more of this. Is kind of was my thing. So after I saw you at the show, I was like, I'm gonna go look him up, see what he has for music. Found the Bandcamp, found whatever else, listen to it, and I'm just thinking like, in my head when I'm listening to like what's going on, I'm like liking it, and I'm thinking like, I want to do a prod. I'm like, I want to give this guy some beats and do a project and see what happens, because I felt like the way that you rapped and everything just would fit the beats real good. And I'm like, so I gotta hit him up. So that's when I hit you up, and I'm like, yeah, some of these beats. And I really love that project, and I've had so many people.
Yeah, me too.
I think we played it on some review shows, and we do the barsoverbars review shows. We play it and be like, yeah, I made those beats. I made that whole shit. And they're like, what? And I'm like, yeah. So like, for me, that was like actually one of my favorite projects, was I did Shamik's project too, and that's another one that's up there. But being that I felt like it was like the perfect length too. I thought at the beginning, I'm like, 5 songs, I'm like, oh, you know, but then when it came out, the way that you put it together, and I think even the order that you put it in,
Yeah.
I'm fucking OCD, like, big time, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So, like, every project I've ever done or has ever been released that I've had a part in, like, I've always took part in the process, like, 100%. Like, from the making of the beat to the recording of it to, like, the feedback afterwards or whatever, right? And with
Right.
yours, the only time I had any inkling was going on was those videos you would post on Instagram. And I'd be like, oh man, I gotta fucking hear this. I gotta hear this when it's finished, blah, 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 blah. And then I didn't really hear it. And then when it came out, I was just like, okay, perfect. Because the whole time I'm wondering, is 5 enough? I'm like, what is he gonna say?
Yeah.
No, like, because I heard what you're doing on the Vantage. I want to hear it finished, how it's gonna
Right.
sound. And because I hadn't really, like I said, OCD. I'm like, I want that.
Yeah. And I think too, if COVID wasn't a thing, I think it would have been a different way of collaborating. But also too, like, even when I was in a group, I don't think Mike and I ever wrote a song in the same room together, because he was living in Tallahassee and I was living in Orlando. It was about 4 hours apart. So he would get a beat, he'd write a hook, he'd send it to me, I'd write my verse, he'd write his verse, I'd drive to Tallahassee, we'd meet up in the studio and record. I don't think we ever wrote together. So all of my, like, experience, like, creating stuff has always been by myself. I've done, the only collaborations I think I've ever done in person with someone is with Miles Bullen. And Miles Bullen and I work really well together. And he came over and we built 2 songs from the ground up and recorded them. He's the only person I've ever done that with. But a lot of times the reason for that is I write in my car a lot. And so I'm driving constantly. That's like where the Van Jams kind of came from, is like I'm you know, in my car all the time driving around, and that's where I like to write, because it's, to me, the car feels like a force field where, like, no one can hear me. I get very self-conscious if I think someone can hear me. Like, even if it's my girlfriend, like, upstairs, like, I get self-conscious, like, fuck, because when you start something, it sounds like shit. Like a lot of people, like, I don't know why a lot of people don't, like, admit this sometimes. Probably like, oh man, my shit's fucking raw all the time. My shit sounds like shit when I first start. It's like mumbling nonsense. You know what I mean? And then, but I do it 1,000 times in the car from front to back, and just keep starting it over and starting it over and starting it over and building it piece by piece, and, like, figuring out, okay, that line's gonna fit there, boom, 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 you know, and then till it goes. But the car is where I feel like nobody can hear me, even though I don't have any tints in my window, so everyone can see me rapping in the car for sure. Like, for some reason I feel like they can't. And I don't know why. I like the acoustics in the car too. The fan's dope for that. But
sounds pretty good.
Yeah. And, you know, like, when I put the beats on, when I put your beats on in the car and the way they hit, I'm just like, yeah, no, we gotta go, you know. And so but yeah, and as far as the length of it, like, I really am a fan of, like, little EPs, especially for, like, up and coming people who nobody knows who the fuck I am, you know, like, I like that. If you can hit people hard with 4 or 5 good songs front to back, like, I'd rather have that from somebody than 15 songs and, like, 3 of them are good, you know, and 5 of them are all right. And, you know, because, like, I'm very honest with myself. Like, I know where I stand in the greater scheme of life as far as music goes, you know, like, I don't have any illusion that I'm some fucking superstar or anything like that. You know what I mean? Like, I know where I'm at. Like, I'm writing these, I'm on the floor of my bedroom right now. You know what I mean? Like, this is not, you know, like, even when I shoot videos, like, I try to remember that, like, I poke fun of myself all the time, because I know, I get it, like, I know, you know, and I've been around, like, I've done shows in different states. I've been up and down, you know, the East Coast. I've, you know, been different places and done shows, and, like, I do well. Like, it's not that I don't think that I'm good or anything like that. Like, I know that I am, but I also know, you know, a handful of people would care if I stopped rapping, you know, and most of them I'm related to. So like it's not like, you know, like, people, there are tons of good rappers.
Right. There's a lot these days. And so it's like, when you first start off, I'm sure it's your vision of things can be a little different early
For
on.
sure.
Where you're like, look,
Dude, when I was 21, we were gonna be the biggest fucking thing in the world. Like, you know, we were wearing sunglasses inside everywhere we went, and like, you know, like I have a line on the project, VIP roped off, and no one gave a fuck about us. You know, like that's a true story. Like we, like, you know, go to a show and like you have the VIP, you know, and you know, I see it now as an older like fellow. I see young people doing it, and they have their VIP section at the show. Nobody's in the bar, like nobody's there, but they're in the VIP. But you're not a VIP from anything. But I get it. Like, I'm not mad at it. Like, I understand it. Like, you know, there is that kind of like, it's fun, you know, it is fun to like turn up with your friends and whatever, you know?
Yeah. Been down that road a few times too, you know, here and there. You think like you're something that you're really not, but you're enjoying the moment at least sometimes. And yeah, I mean, kind of is what it is, you know, but you start off like, I feel like back in the day, it was like, oh wait, it's gonna be our year. Then it was like, oh nah. It's like,
yeah.
10 is our year. Then it was like 2011, and eventually it's like
I stopped saying this is gonna be my year a long time ago.
Like that shit stopped a while ago. But I feel like once you hit that point where you stop thinking about like, you know, I want to be famous or whatever, you start really getting into the nitty gritty of the music. And like, I think a lot of times as you push on through that, like some people do, and some people they give up, but you push on through that, I feel like you grow a lot as an artist. You come out of that that egotistical fucking mindset, right? And you start to think other things where you can pull inspiration from and creativity from, and more real life situations. I know when you first start, it's all like braggadocio, and what do you know, even if you don't have it, you're like,
and you're mimicking, you know, like you see what's popular, you see what's working for people, and you're trying to mimic that, you know. And but like for me, as I got older, it was more of just like, it stopped being about trying to achieve something and more accepting that this is my life. Like, this is what I do. I love to rap, you know, like I love to write music. I love to go to spots and perform, and being able to come across people, you know, like Miles, like Chesky, like Homeboy Sandman, like people that do music for a living, but are not famous on any stretch of the imagination, but they work fucking hard, you know, and they grind, they do shows, and this is their life. They make art for a living, you know. And I'll never forget the first time I saw Homeboy Sandman. I had been listening to him. I was living in North Carolina, and I drove 2 hours to Asheville to see a show. He was coming. He was by himself. And, you know, in my head, he's like the biggest thing, you know. And I showed up at this bar, and there was maybe like 15, 20 people there. And I was like, damn, really? Like, this guy's like the illest guy out. Like, this place should be fucking packed. And I remember I was watching the opener, and he walked in the bar, and he walked in and he stood next to me. He dapped me up, and he just stood there and watched the opener. Cause like I saw him come in. I was like, oh, fuck. And so I guess he saw me, like, recognize him, and like dapped me up, sat there, watched the performer, and then went up and killed it. And it was like at that moment where I was like, oh, okay, this is a professional. Like, 20 people came out. There's no ego here. He's like, these are 20 new people, you know, that haven't seen me perform before, because I hadn't seen him perform live before, and he fucking killed it. And everybody bought merch, everybody bought CDs, everybody bought vinyl, everybody bought t-shirts, you know. And he had 20 new fans for life, you know. And then I drove back when he opened up for A$AP Rock, like, and that's when I kind of realized, like, that's what it is. Like, I don't care if there's 5 people in a room or if there's 500 people in a room. I'm going to perform the same. And those 5 people that are in the room, when I leave here tonight, they're all going to have a t-shirt, they're all going to have a CD, and they're all going to tell their friends about me.
Yeah. And that's the basic goal of doing the shows. It doesn't always have to be a huge show.
Right.
Matter of fact, them smaller shows are usually always better anyway. As far as, you know, intimacy and being able to create a unique experience every single time. And I'm sure you see with doing the Monday of the Mind. I know we haven't really been doing that for a while, but prior to that, and now you're getting back into it with the outdoor concert series, right? This summer, and then I think you got 28 coming up probably through Yes Brewing. I'm sure you won't just be doing one thing over there. I'm sure you do more than one there as well.
Yeah, I've actually got a couple things with them coming up, and I know Hero's going to be doing something there.
Yep. Yep, they got
26th.
end of June. Yeah.
Yep.
And I hope that he gets some more things over there too, and because it's good to blend
Yeah.
to get some of those guys to come up here and vice versa too.
Yeah,
like
yeah. Shout out to Yes
people.
Brady and Yes Brewing. That they're fucking great, man. That they've been so good for like letting artists come in and do their thing. Like they're a really great business to have. Luckily, they're like right up the street from me.
Yeah,
They're really great.
That's good. I haven't been there, but I always hear good things about it.
Yeah.
From Stay on Mars was telling me,
Yep.
Zach was telling me that they're really great too. He was one of the ones who told me kind of, because Hero hit me up about a few breweries actually.
Yeah.
One in Biddeford, it used to be Dirigo Brewing, but they've rebranded or they put something else new in there. And he was like, "Have you ever heard of Yes Brewing?" And I'm like, "No." So I hit up a couple of people, Stay on Mars with him. He's like, "No, dude, if you want to do shows, definitely hit them up." So
yeah, and when we can do shows, and I'm sure it won't be too long, when we can do shows back inside, like their inside spot. The last show that I did before the pandemic was at Yes, and it was one of my favorite shows. Like if there was a way to, I had no idea what was about to happen, but if I could have chosen a way to end it, like that would have been the one, because it was great. You know, and they love hip hop there. That's why they let us do what we want to do, you know.
Yeah. But yeah, definitely looking forward to that show, and having more shows in general. But obviously I'm hoping to see more shows from you as well. And I hope that that you're able to live stream and shit is always good too. And we could do that stuff so that you don't actually have to be there in person. I love the idea that kind of was a thing before the pandemic, but it really spawned up during the pandemic, and I like it. I know it at first may seem like it was like a pain in the ass, but it seems like things are rolling now, and it seems real easy to do.
Yeah,
and Hero does it for every single show, and I think he's going to continue to do that live stream.
I think you have to. I think you have to do it from now on.
Yeah, because
the live streams, and you could reach. You know, you could be in Canada and watch a show here. You know what I mean? You could you don't limit yourself that way. But yeah, I mean, the live streams are cool. I miss performing live. I did a thing at Urban Farms Fermentary like last month, which was cool. It was weird. It's like the first time back, so it was kind of awkward to like whatever, but just seeing everybody again, being able to like give people a hug or whatever, like that was huge, you know, like connecting, chopping it up after the show, like networking, getting things, you know, putting things together. Like that's what I miss most about the shows. Yeah, and then the 19th at Yes, we'll have a show. There's actually be 2 cannabis companies out there giving away stuff, and you know, so if anybody watching is into that, Yes Brewery on Saturday the 19th, it's gonna be good.
Westbrook,
and the 12th and the 26th.
The 12th, 26th, every
3 weeks in a row, hip hop there.
In a row out at Yes, which is
and then the 28th is our first Monday the Minds back at Congress Square. So
yeah, the outdoor shit, right?
A lot of hip hop coming up.
We're gonna have Soul out there, right? Is that what I heard? Soul's
Yep.
gonna be out there?
Yep, Soul's coming out.
That's gonna be dope. So speaking of Soul, let's bring in the co-host. He's finally arrived. My cousin Justin. He knows Soul a lot better than I do. What's up?
Yo, sorry.
No worries. But so Soul, Soul from Anacon is doing the outdoor show on what, the 28th at
Monday the 28th. Yep.
Monday the 28th, where aLunarlanding will be performing. Who else is performing that day?
I won't be performing. I host the outdoor shows. But it's gonna be Soul, Anthony Maintain, and Graphic Melee are gonna be performing.
Yeah.
Graphic also DJs for the outdoor thing, and then I host the outdoor shows. I'll be performing at one probably later in the summer.
Yeah, that'll be dope. I haven't heard much from him in a little while, so it'll be good to hear.
Yeah,
whether is he gonna perform some new stuff? You know what I'm saying? That's kind of like what I'm interested in hearing. I know the old stuff is dope, and everybody probably wants to hear that. But it's been so long. It's like I know we kind of trickled in some songs here and there, but I'm curious to see if he brings out anything like new that, you know what I'm saying, for the show. That'll be cool. Is that going to be live stream too?
We're gonna work on it with the outdoor and the sound. We'll have to figure out how to do it, but we're gonna try to live stream for sure.
Yeah, that would be dope as fuck too. So yeah, you came in right now. It's usually when we would bring up like favorite unexplained phenomenon, something that it's something that is unexplained, paranormal, whatever, that is easy for you to talk about because it's interesting to you, whether it's aliens, Bigfoot, ghosts, fucking Bermuda Triangle. I don't know, right? So,
Yeah.
what do you think would be your favorite like unexplained phenomenon or paranormal?
Well, I mean, they just declassified some of the UFO footage from some of the aircraft carriers and the Navy pilots that they're seeing, and
Yeah.
I think that is incredibly interesting. I don't necessarily believe it's like aliens or anything like that, but the fact that you've got, you know, Navy pilots out there, like, I don't know what the hell this is, and that it's kind of a reoccurring thing, and that, you know, they've declassified it and said, yeah, this stuff happens, we can't really explain it. I think that's like a very important thing to keep an eye on. It could be nothing, it could be something crazy, you know. I think that's something that's always interests me, more UFOs than like Bigfoot. I always used to watch like the Loch Ness Monster stuff on like the Discovery Channel and all that kind of stuff. I used to watch that stuff all the time, but the UFO stuff definitely interests me just because how vast space is and underwater. Like, I think a lot of times when we think of UFOs, we think of space, but we've yet to explore most of the underwater world. And because we can't, because of the pressure and all that kind of stuff going deep, like, I think there could be some crazy shit down deep. You never know, you know. And they're saying that some of these crafts like have like splashed down into the water. They could be going down and then shooting up from the core of the earth. I don't know. I just watched Godzilla and versus King Kong. I don't know. It could be coming up from the center of the earth. Who knows?
They might,
you know,
stand that pressure. You know, they get deep and they have those fucking bases and shit. You can get fucking into some theories like all day, especially about aliens. I was for college, when I went to college, which I was a late bloomer, so I ended up going. I was like 27 when I went. I did my fucking whole like capstone like project was based on fucking alien theory and shit like that. It's like basically I vibed out on like every episode of Ancient Aliens, and I read a bunch of books by fucking Eric Von Daniken and shit like that. And then I just wrote like this crazy fucking 40-page fucking thing about what my ideas and thoughts were, and it was easy because it was something I was interested in. I just fucking could just go and go. So yeah, I mean, like I said, I could talk about that shit all day. The funny thing that I was reading about on that report that they just kind of declassified or whatever was that they came to really no conclusive thoughts. They're like, yeah, we don't know, we still don't know what it is, you know. And so they're basically not saying shit. Like, they put some videos out, and that's pretty much it. So it's like we've been waiting, and now it's kind of
it's kind of
very anticlimactic.
But the fact that kind of stuff exists, it's interesting to me.
Well, they're taking a step in the right direction and actually acknowledging it now. Like before, the 2000s, it was all hearsay and nobody knew like what the truth was. But now they're actually kind of confirming, this stuff happens and we don't know what it is.
Right.
So I mean, we're taking a step in the right direction.
Yeah.
Are they telling us the whole truth? Probably not.
No. But I probably wouldn't either. You know, people might go nuts. You know, I am someone who definitely believes that the government should have secrets because, I mean, we see what happens. We were talking about it early with just people imitating TikToks and blowing themselves up. Like, imagine someone tells you that there's aliens for real. Like, the place would go crazy.
Right.
You know, like,
my ancestors on Mars. I'm gonna build me a spaceship and go home.
Yeah, it's wild.
Yeah, people would think of the craziest shit too. Be trying to communicate off planet and shit. Be like trying to they would just do the wildest shit. Like, remember Independence Day, the movie where the motherfucker, they knew the aliens were coming and they went to the rooftops like, take me,
right,
like,
right. Yeah,
like that. You know, just
those were the people camping outside of Roswell or Area 51.
Yeah, another thing that I've been into lately too that I've been talking about is fucking Bigfoot and how Bigfoot, we can't find remains and blah blah blah, but everybody think Bigfoot is like a physical thing on this planet. But I'm thinking more, if we're gonna get into theories and shit about it, like it's like a multi-dimensional being, like if we can't find the remains because the motherfucker can't die in this fucking dimension or this plane of existence, right? So like we can never find a body because they pop in and out, and
like a predator.
Yeah, sort of like that in a way, you know what I'm saying? Where it's like they're there, but we see them like a ghost, and I think ghosts and Bigfoots or even aliens could possibly too be along that same realm of thinking where like we're here, you know, and it's like pages in a book. That's how the guy from fucking Skinwalker Ranch described it, right? Pages in a book, and sometimes the ink goes from page to page or whatever, and over time, and they interloop, but they're not always constantly there. And it's like you start thinking that way, a lot of things seem possible, right? And I think that you could easily explain it by just saying it all is the same. It's just different universes or whatever planes of existence, right?
Right.
And
Like inhabiting the same area at a different time. Yeah.
exactly.
Speaking of Bigfoot, did you guys see that there's some lawmaker? I'm pulling it up now. A lawmaker in Oklahoma put a bounty, $3 million on the live capture of Bigfoot.
Yeah.
Did you guys see that?
I did, yeah. I actually mentioned that last week. You weren't here, but I mentioned that last week. That $3 million. What I was saying was, with all these shows and everything everybody's been doing, I think people have spent more than $3 million. Like, I'm sure there's people out there that have spent more than that just to try to find him, and he found him. So it's like $3 million. That ain't shit. We're talking about $100 million. Okay, now we're talking, because like you get into that kind of money, we should be able to find him, right? $100 million.
Right. Yeah.
I just
that's the thing is like all the videos like nowadays, you know, because back in the day we didn't have like great cameras on cell phones and stuff like that, so all the images were fuzzy and stuff like that. Nowadays you should be able to get a good ass video. Like my iPhone, they're using iPhones to film cinematic movies and shit. Like you should be able to get a good ass video with your iPhone, and you know, maybe you're freaking out because you're seeing a Bigfoot, so you're like this, but calm yourself, point that thing and shoot it. Like exactly. Like people are hiking with selfie sticks anyways. So just like point and shoot. Like we should be able to get a good video. And that to me, you know, if you're out and maybe people have just stopped looking and maybe that, you know, kind of given up on it. But if you're out there looking and you see something, you should be able to get a good shot of it.
But on the other hand, visual effects have gotten so good that there should be more fake ones out there too, though.
Right.
You know?
Yeah. Like so good fake. I mean, you could deep fake anybody right now. like, you don't know who's saying what anymore, which is one of the scariest things to me. I think is very scary for the future. But yeah, there should be fakes. But I guess people don't really care anymore. Like that's like, you know, we're all older.
Want to set themselves on fire on TikTok instead.
Yeah, like exactly. Like people don't care about Bigfoot or Loch Ness Monster or anything like that. They don't care.
Yeah, they just don't anymore. Like only certain like older folks are like really into it. You know?
Yeah,
what I mean? It's like
because they used to show those things all the time, like unsolved mysteries and stuff like that. You know, like
yeah. So like fucking just a man in a suit. They're like, it's a guy in a suit. Moving on.
That's it. Yeah,
it's like fake. Moving on. But yeah, I mean, to me, it's interesting because I mean, evolution too. If you want to go that route and think science and evolution, you know, Bigfoot could be somewhere in that chain somewhere along the way. So it would be nice to get some physical evidence if that exists. But if by the time I'm ready to fucking clock out of here, if they ain't found no real evidence of Bigfoot, I'm just gonna chalk it up to that multi-dimension thing, and I'm gonna buckle up for what comes next after I'm out of here, because I'm knowing something's gonna have fucking go down crazy. If that's what it's like, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But yeah, so top 5. We gotta do a top 5. What do you want to do? You want to do a top 5 albums, artists, or producers? Which one do you want to do?
Let's do artists.
All right. And artists can be anybody. It doesn't have to be a fucking musician. It can be a painter, a fucking whatever, you know what I'm saying, of any genre or anything. It's just up to you to kind of define that. So, and it doesn't have to be in any specific order either. So this is the hardest thing that we usually do.
It's hard. Yeah.
But
lists are very hard because mine change all the time.
So what do you think? Top 5 artists, any genre, any kind of art. It doesn't have to be music.
One person that's always in my top 5 all time of anything is Townes Van Zandt. Townes Van Zandt's an incredible singer-songwriter, folk artist. Wrote some of the best songs, I think, and is probably one of the biggest influences on my songwriting. So Townes Van Zandt, number 1. Homeboy Sandman, There's a band called Tops, Tops, all caps. Probably one of my favorite bands. I'm a big comic book fan. One of my favorite comic book illustrators and writers is Jeff Lemire. Definitely recommend checking out anything that he's done. They actually just released Sweet Tooth on Netflix, which is based off a graphic novel that he did, or a comic series that they put in.
Last name, so I'll check it out.
Yeah. There you go. It's super, incredible. And then 5. Let's go 5. Who are we gonna do? Artists. What kind of artists we got? A sandwich artist. There's a guy at Subway that was pretty good.
Bobby at Subway.
Bobby. I think you think he's froze.
Did we lose him, or is he just going stone cold?
He's full of frozen mode right now. We lost him.
Yeah.
We're gonna be back. He was on what, 5th? Is 5th?
Yeah, he was looking for number 5.
All right, so it vibed him right out. It was like, nope. He gets one shot. So yeah, how was your trip?
Oh, it was rainy, cold.
Yeah, that's right. It was cold and rainy, wasn't it?
Yeah, last week kind of fucking was not the week to go on vacation, but it is what it is. We made the best of it.
Did you guys have the kids with you the whole time when you were there?
Oh yeah, they didn't go anywhere.
Yeah. So it was like a vacation, but not like a vacation.
It was like being home, but being somewhere else.
Yeah. Yep, that's pretty much it. Yeah, so I don't know.
Yeah, so I was going to talk about the old UFO report, but it was very uneventful, anticlimactic. As I said before, there wasn't a whole lot in there that was like new information. So
nope. And I was totally like, "What the fuck is this?"
Yeah.
Totally disappointed in that. I was waiting for that. Like, all right, we're gonna hear some real good shit. And
nothing. Yeah, and then the Bigfoot thing, that was fucking crazy. And
$3 million though, it's like I said, I think like it's a great idea, but I feel like it needs to be more money. These people, especially Expedition Bigfoot, he's got to have spent that much money.
Now the lawmaker was in Oklahoma. Is Oklahoma like a place where Bigfoot is like seen a lot?
Yeah, every state has a Bigfoot sightings in different areas, right? And I think on Expedition Bigfoot, the show that I watch on Discovery, they map it out. They use this algorithm for sightings and what time of the year and what dates, and they put them all on this computer, and the computer tells them where and for what length of time the Bigfoot will be at the most. And they went from Oregon and they went to like Tennessee, and then they were in the Smoky Mountains in this area where a lot of sightings happen, and they were getting a lot of positive things, so it seemed, through the show anyway. So it seems like they will oh hey, good to have you back.
Back.
That's a restream, or sometimes it's like that. But yeah, we were on, I think, the 5th.
Yeah, the 5th one, I probably put Outkast in there in my tops, just because growing up, in South Florida, just them being from the South and just how great their music is. It has to be in there for sure.
Yeah, definitely.
Agreed.
You put that fucking Outkast on motherfucking repeat like plenty of times.
Yeah.
Of course, and the Escort.
With the fucking bookshelf speakers in the back.
It's so funky. It's so soulful. Like, you could ride to it. You can just sit there with your headphones on and listen to it. You can dance around to it. You could do a whole lot of stuff to Outkast.
The Organized Noise was like the great, like, still is even.
Yeah,
like,
they're still going.
They're still making stuff, but it's not like as prominent as it was. But everything that they ever fucking did, I have no complaints on.
Yeah, no,
not at all. So everything they did for Outkast, as far as handling that aspect of it, was spot on.
Yeah,
they couldn't have done anything fucking different for sure.
I mean, they had Goody Mob too.
Oh yeah, that first Goody Mob album is like,
yeah, Thunder Family.
Anything fucking CeeLo was on is great in my opinion.
Yeah.
Especially, well, I mean, them obviously, but then Solo too. He was just killing it with that shit.
Yeah. I think Future is related to. I think it's Rico Wade. I think he's his nephew. So Future is part of that whole scene and family down there too.
Yeah. Well, Atlanta, yeah, right. Yeah. So 9 o'clock, typically smoke break time. I got a little vape pen. If you got a little weed, anybody out there? I know Lucifer's here. Lucifer's probably gonna smoke. It's smoke break time, Lucifer. Get your fucking weed out. Let's shout out 504 367 4th Street, Portland, Maine. Hit them up. If you need some medical weed, hit them up. And you're in Portland, and you know you want fire. Their shit is always fire. So yeah, and it's on 4. So just in case you're wondering. But yeah, so typically at this point, we would take some questions if we had any, which we don't really. I was just checking for that. And unless Lucifer's got something for us, or we will just like play like a song of yours, during this time, just kind of chill out, play a little song for a little bit. So if you got one in mind that you want me to play, I can pull it up on Spotify or Bandcamp too. If you
Spotify
want
probably is the place to go. I mean, play one from the thing that we did. I don't know, whichever one you want to do.
Well, for me, a perpetual reboot.
Yeah, I love that one.
So yeah, this is a project. Why don't you just kind of let them know what it is real quick, and then I'll play it.
Perpetual Reboot. That's the one. I make up song titles just out of nowhere, so sometimes I don't really remember which ones they are. But Perpetual Reboot, that's the one. I'm not the person who I was when I was younger, but the one I was when I was young is the reason I'm the one that I become. A lot of that was just like, we forget that the dumb shit that we did and the people that we were are the reason that we are the way we are now. So if you're happy with the way you are now, kind of ease up on your old self. Don't have so many regrets about things that you did and all that kind of stuff, because you made it to where you are. And that goes for the people as well that were like in my life at that time. I am who I am because of those people. So that's kind of where a lot of this came from.
Yeah, and the project is called Who Even Am I? Right?
Yeah, Who Even Am I?
And it's 5 tracks, and I produced them all. So this one is, I like them all, but this one in particular is one of my favorites. For sure. Let's just
and it starts it off too.
Yeah, it starts off the whole album, so it gives you a feel for everything. And I'm not sure, Justin, I think we've played this, you've listened to this before, I'm pretty sure. But yeah, so if you haven't heard it, here it is. We'll let it rip.
I am not the person who I was when I was younger, but the one I was when I was young's the reason I'm the one that I become. Son, friend, brother, lover, more than others. I've been me, and I'll be me to the day that I die. 6 feet deep with the worms on the dirt, looking back on my life, wondering if everything I did from the womb to the tomb is enough to get me to the light. Will I regret what I spent on my nights? Will I regret what I spent on those nights? Probably not. That I call all my shots at the babe that I am, or I hide with my head in the sand when the road got rough, so tough, blowing smoke up most bloods, hoping no one knows that I'm scared, that I'm so dumb, or inside I'm so numb that I give a damn if the whole world blows up. Most days I just want to be left alone with my peace, read my comics and sing my songs with anyone else who shares my grief. See, if I'm lucky, I got about 25 years until both of my parents deceased. That's about 25 hugs and 25 kisses to the next one to die is me. Geez, so how do I cope when I can't do shows and I can't give hugs to the folks that I love, because I can't fly state to state without feeling like I'm putting the life on the line of the people I meet on the plane. Even just breathe is a dangerous game. I don't care what you think, if it's real or it's fake, it's enough to keep me from doing my thing. I say, I am not the person who I was when I was younger, but the one I was when I was young's the reason I'm the one that I become. Young, dumb, full of it, walking through bars trying to kick my game. Hey, young thing, can I get your name? Oh, no way, well, that's a shame. Can't say I blame you. Looking back on it now, I was one step up from a fuck boy, wearing shades in the back of the club, boy. VIP roped off, but no one give a fuck about us, boy. Would you look at me now? Still ain't shit, but at least I'm aware of that fact. In the back of my pants, being Kerouac raps. Can't wait till I'm out on the road again. Wanna make a living off of rap tunes, might never make a living off of rap tunes, but I'm still still gon' try, baby, it's my life. What else would I do in my sad mood? On the couch with a pint and a spoon and a mind full of doom and an ominous mood, thinking I've been a fool for my whole damn life, cause I never made a move out of fear that I might fail. Whole time been looking for the right rail. Wrong place, wrong this, wrong that, wrong context for you and me to be what evidence we could be. Yeah. She like the way that she like the way that I rap. She like the fact that I listen to all of her problems and still hit it good from the back. So I am not the person who I was when I was younger, but the one I was when I was young's the reason I'm the one that I become. Been a friend, been a foe, been a lot of things to a lot of folks that I never thought I'd be. A lot of folks been a lot of things to me that I never thought I need. But the reason I succeed is no matter how I act, they always have my back. Whenever I need truth, they always give me facts. Never sugarcoated, always shooting straight. Never roundabout, always in my face. Yes, everything I am and I can be stems from the fact that I come from a family with love and understanding, with the main things preached to me to keep a life worth living. So I do my best to keep that in mind whenever skies get gray or the road gets rough. Sometimes I feel like I'm not enough, and that's when I turn to your love. I am not the person who I was when I was younger, but the one I was when I was young. The reason I'm the one that I become. The reason I'm the one that I become. The reason I'm the one that I become. Not the same as I was when I was younger. I'm not the same as I'm not the same as I'm not the same as I was when I was younger. No, I'm not the same as I'm the one that I become. The reason I'm the one that I am. The reason I'm the one that I become. Not the same as not the same as not the same as I'm the one that I become.
Yeah.
Bars.
Bars.
The way that you just keep it moving too the whole fucking time.
Keep it pushing. That's a fun one to perform. That was exciting to perform that at the Urban Farm show, and then the first show at Yes. I'm looking forward to doing that one more and more and more.
Yeah. Like I said, that whole project is just fucking dope, and everything that you put out is as well. You know what I'm saying?
Thanks, dude.
I don't have any fucking qualms with anything that you put out. A matter of fact, and you do the artwork too, which is something I didn't know from the get go. Like I just figured it out not too long ago. I'm like,
yeah,
doing all this artwork too, and so like shout out to that, because seriously, I can't even. I don't like.
Yeah,
you know
I do all my own artwork. All of my merch. I design all my merch, and then my girlfriend prints the t-shirts. So
yeah.
it's all in house.
That's what's up. So you got like a little screen, like a press or something?
She works at a Pickwick press in Portland.
Nice, cool.
So she's able to do that. She's went to school for printmaking and stuff like that. She's very talented in that aspect. And then a lot of it too is just like coming up with different, I go to Martin's, see what's on sale. I buy it up, and then I just figure out how to make something with it and sell it,
Yeah, hell yeah. That's great. That's fucking great, man. I love that shit. Yeah, I wish I could get more into merch, man. You know what I'm saying? But like,
that's where it's at, man. That's the thing. Cause like music, I'm not like I make CDs just because I'm old and I want to have them. But like, unless you can afford to get vinyl, like people aren't really buying CDs that much, and like CDs I'll use as promotion, almost like business cards now too, because they don't cost much to get made. You can go to like Atomic Disc and get the Eco Pack, you get 100 for like $150. Like they don't cost that much to get made. But the big thing is the merch, and that's what I've found. Like when I've especially like going on the road and doing shows, that's where I've made money, is selling t-shirts, hoodies, hats, stickers, like anything. Like the merch is the thing, because the music nowadays, you have to give away your music. If your music's not on Spotify, Bandcamp, like I always put pay what you want, like I'm not gonna make like
free download.
Download it for free. As long as people are listening.
I just dropped live res in the video and I fucking put it on my page. I was like, go download it for free.
Yeah, go get it. Like,
and buy it on Apple if you want, but it's donation. Yeah, if you want to pay. Right. Because nowadays, like you said, it is that it's 100%.
It's got to be. You
got to make your money from. I mean, a lot of times too, you might not even make money from like the door of a show, even
right. Yeah, for sure. Especially
merch and donations, right?
Yeah, because the only time you're making money from the door is one, if you go to like an established night where they charge a cover and they split it up with you.
You're bringing a good crowd in there,
or you're bringing a good crowd. Like if you worked enough, in your local area or whatever. But like for the most part, like someone like me goes on the road. I'm not well known enough to pull in a bunch of people. Like I'll go places and book shows with people that I know, and I've been fortunate enough that I got to go on the road with Miles Bullen when he did his thing and open up for him and build connections with people there. But for the most part, you know, you're going and you're betting on the fact that you're good enough to go into a room full of strangers and impress them enough to where they're like, I'm going to leave here with something. And if you don't have anything to sell, it's one thing that I tell people like that I see that are like coming up and like first starting off, like if you do a show and you don't have merch, you're missing out. You know, like you got to have something. Make it yourself. Like draw a picture and put it up there. Like, and like you have to have something. You can get stickers. Sticker Mule is always doing deals for stickers, like fucking 50 for $20, you know, like make a couple fake emails, like triple up on that deal, you know, get 150 stickers, you know, like if you're going to do a show, you need to have something for people, because if they like you,
their hands.
Yeah. If they like you, you want them to leave with something so that they remember you. Cause you know, for local shows, like think of how many local shows that you've been to where you don't remember the band that you saw, like because they either didn't have merch or whatever, you know?
Yep. They had nothing to say. They just performed. You're like, oh, that was
That's
cool.
it.
And the next person comes up.
And then they probably made like $20 from the door, you know? Like
next person comes up and they kill it too. And they're like, hey, come buy a fucking shirt. Or come
right,
buy
exactly.
like, oh,
because the people that do have merch are moving it. You know?
When I remember the State Theater, I saw Action Bronson over there. This was like 2017 or whatever when he came up, right? It was a great fucking show, but the best part about the show was at the end of the show, he walked off stage with the microphone right through the fucking crowd, right to the thing, and he was talking the whole time. Come to the merch table.
Right, that's it, dude.
Right now, come to the merch table. He's like, I'm in everything. And like when we went down, like I was one of the first people to come down, and it was already packed. Like the line was so packed.
Yeah, for sure. That's the way.
Not waiting around in that, but however, it's a great fucking move because you're probably gonna sell everything that he fucking brought that night. Yeah,
I'm not much of like a self promoter, like just in general, but at a show, I'm not ashamed to tell you to meet me at the merch table. I'm not ashamed while I'm on the microphone on stage. Like on stage, that's my time. And so like I have the microphone and you're going to listen to me, or if you're not going to listen to me, that's fine. You can go somewhere else. But I'm going to be at the merch table after this is over. I have cool things for you if you like it. And I'm not ashamed to like tell people, like, if you like what you're hearing right now, you should go over there and buy something, because that's how you support local artists. You buy their stuff, you know?
Yeah, exactly.
And you buy it from them, you know?
Yeah, Bandcamp too. You know,
Bandcamp's cool. Like I have my website, aLunarlanding.com, where you can order stuff through there. And like I set that one up so that that's not coming from me. It was more of just something to have up there where I can like put different designs that I've done, and it goes through like Printful, and it's all fulfilled that way. And I make like a little bit of money. But it was more just like people to get shit. But at shows, yeah, dude, I'm bringing comic books to shows. I'm having dollar bin comic books. You can dig through. You can get yourself a Thor. You can get yourself some Wolverine comics for 50 cents. Like anything that I can think of to sell to people, I'm gonna sell it to you, and I'm gonna slap my sticker on it too, and then you're gonna know.
Yeah, for sure. Merch is fucking key.
Yeah, you gotta have it.
But yeah. Keeping it moving, we talk a little bit about new rap versus old rap. Sometimes we get a little good conversation going. I like to start off by saying I'm not like someone who's like completely biased against new rap or whatever. There's artists from every like generation of rap that I don't like, you know what I'm saying? And then there's artists I do like from each generation. So like some of the new guys like J. Cole and Kendrick and Logic and like, you know, people like that. I'm feeling it. I like those dudes. People I don't like Lil Pump and shit like that. The gimmicky style fucking people, you know. I don't really like that like commercial style. A lot of shit you hear on the radio, I'm not really feeling it for the most part. You know what I'm saying? There is some things like a little Pop Smoke. Pop Smoke got a good song on the radio. I like that. I'm not gonna lie.
I mean, I work out to Pop Smoke all the time, so
yeah. So I'm not saying like
there's nothing that makes me feel more like powerful in the gym.
Yeah, exactly. So like, there's some
except Nipsey. Nipsey is. I listen to Nipsey all the time.
Yeah, Nipsey, another good one. But like, first things first, and we already mentioned this in this episode already, but I ask everybody when they come on, live shows, rapping over backing vocals or no?
Yeah, I mean, it's training wheels, you know, like I get it if it's your first time out there, because everyone has done it. Like I know a lot of rappers who will not admit it, but I know that they have. Like when you first start out, like you kind of think that you have to, you know, because you're worried about forgetting. It's training wheels, but you got to take them off if you want to be taken seriously as a rapper. You got to get those out of there. Plus, it's a lot of people don't understand. It's harder for the sound engineer to mix.
Oh yeah,
what's happening if you're rapping over your vocals.
Yeah,
the people that rap over their vocals are the ones that are constantly saying, I can't hear myself. You can't hear yourself because there's no room for your vocal to sit.
Already there.
Yeah, you're already there.
No, but for certain parts, like you know, I'm not talking about like if you have a little bit of an effect
hook or whatever. Yeah.
That's not it. But when the verses come, it's got to be
rap your verses.
And I'm not saying that to be like whatever. Like if you don't know your shit, then just practice it more. And
I'm saying it to be whatever.
Okay, well, everyone can do it. It just takes a little bit extra time just to memorize your shit.
Yeah.
Doing that will give the people who are coming to see you a unique experience every fucking time. So if you get people who, like I was kind of touching on earlier, your Monday of the Minds thing, you go like every Monday or something like that.
Yeah.
You got the same kind of people coming out.
Right.
You want to do the same song maybe a couple of weeks in a row, but you want to the way you do it without backing vocals is unique every time. It really is. So like I think people deserve that. And another aspect of the new versus old that I don't see a lot of is like hype men. That's another thing we like to talk about. So like back in the day, who always motherfuckers would have a hype man like who would know your lyrics, and that would kind of eliminate the need for having to rap over your vocals in a way. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Someone to pick up the hook, someone to just be hyped the whole time and do your vocals and let you catch your breath here and there. That's something that, and I know some artists do have, you know, hype men that come out, but for the most part, to see a show these days, it's just one person on the fucking stage. I went and saw Made in Tokyo, just him. I went and saw fucking, you know, Russ, just him, just Cameron, just him. The DJ behind him was on the mic a little bit, which was cool. I like that. That can work sometimes.
Yeah, that can work.
But I just feel like we should bring back the hype man, like, and just take it a little more seriously, because I think the hype man it should be included in the hip hop history. You know what I mean? We got you know, turntablism, and we got graffiti and MCing, and I think hype men should fit in there somewhere, because a lot of iconic fucking hype men have been around. You got Spliff Star and Busta Rhymes, and you got Flavor Flav, obviously.
Yeah.
And I mean, the list goes on. And other artists can be hype men too. So like,
well, you look at like Red and Meth, you know, like those are two of like the most in sync artists that you'll ever see on a stage together.
Yeah. I just feel like that should be something that if you haven't done that, and you've done some live shows and you haven't done that, try it out. Bring someone who you're tight with, or another artist that's performing that night, and just throw them up there with you and check it out, because I think it brings a whole nother fucking aspect and dynamic to
But make sure you practice, because it's very easy to make that look corny. It's very easy to be like,
you don't want to be just dancing and shit like that. You got
to and you don't want to just be like, yo, you're like, you want to have a purpose. You want your hype man to be artistic. Like it's not just up there to make noise. Like you're up there to emphasize things. Yeah. No. Yeah, don't do that.
Oh, be my hype man.
I've seen that too many times, dude. There's so many pet peeves that I have, like with like people that are coming up and doing shows, like, you know, and you know, you mentioned Minds is like the one thing that I'm grateful for, like with Stay on Mars, like putting together Minds like you did, because Minds was the first place up here that I performed ever. I went to the open mic, and I Googled, when I first moved to Maine, I Googled hip hop in Maine, and two things popped up. Monday the Minds popped up, and Rap Night popped up. And Rap Night was not happening because they were redoing Aura. They were making it Aura, and so it was closed down. And so I went to Monday the Minds. I signed up for the open mic, and I did show. I actually might have went to one, didn't perform, just to kind of see what it was. Went back, signed up for the open mic, performed, did a song, and then that night Mars was like, yo, do you want to do a set here? And I was like, let's go. And then it's been from there. But the great thing about Minds and the purpose of Minds is to have a space for people who are trying to do it, like that are just getting. That's what the open mic is for. Like the open mic is for people to come and try shit out, to practice, and it's a unique space because in hip hop, and I know it, you know, like hip hop is not a forgiving place.
Right.
It's not notoriously a nice place to people that are not that good.
Mm-hmm.
And the problem with that is and it could be a problem, it could not be a problem, but like it discourages a lot of people, like if you get cut down real quick. But there needs to be like a training ground for people that want to do it, you know, because I've been here 5-6 years, so I've had the pleasure of like seeing minds grow from that. And I've seen people that when they first came to Minds didn't know how to hold the mic,
right,
and now are doing shows and are good, like are decent rappers, like are good rappers, you know. And like that's the point of it. And but some of the pet peeves, like don't ever get up on a stage and say that you're not prepared. I hate that. Like when rappers get up there, oh, I don't know if I'm gonna remember this song. Then why the fuck are you doing it? Like, you know, like don't tell me that I'm probably gonna forget these lyrics because I'm so drunk. Like, don't do that.
Like they don't know it. Just kind of covering themselves.
Yeah. Or like or rappers who tell you that they're out of breath. It's like, I know that you're out of breath. Like I can tell. Like don't tell. Oh, I smoked too many cigarettes. Like.
Right.
Don't do that. Like
my
you're
whole
like
is punched in. Like that's why.
Like you're on stage right now. I think some people forget that they're on stage with a mic in their hand, and they just start like their like internal monologue starts coming out, like trying to make up, like trying to get people to like understand what's happening. And it's like, you're live right now. Like people are looking at you. Like just go. Most people don't know when you fuck up. Just keep going. Don't stop and say you fucked up. Just go. And like the best rappers that I know, when they mess up, because people mess up, like sometimes you feel like you see something happen in the crowd, someone throws a beer at someone and like you fucking lose your like play, you just keep going. The best ones that I know just like make up words in between, keep the rhythm and keep going. They jump back in the verse, you know, and nobody knows. And you know, but stuff like that, like pointing out different things, just go. Like
providing that space is something like, so before you came along here to the state of Maine, when I got started out here, back in 99 is when we started out. So I was like in high school. All right. It's like 15, 16 years old. And then towards the end of high school, I was kind of making music on my own by myself with my cousin, whatever. And we would put it out on CD, sell it around school, whatever. And it wasn't great, you know what I'm saying? But like it was something that a lot of people were like, hey, you know, this could go somewhere. So there was some positive reinforcement there, regardless of how good it was or not. I think they were being positive about the what could be, you know what I'm saying? So without that, I wouldn't have kept on going. However, when I got into the scene, and it was like more of the Portland and moved away from Kennebunk scene and started working with other people, and I got my management deal with Chip Sullivan, right? I was only like 19 or whatever when I signed the deal, but he was getting me into all the clubs with Big Easy, Asylum. He had an open mic there, Liquid Blue, and Free Street, which is, I don't know what it is now, Dogfish maybe? Is that by the Children's Museum or something?
Yeah, Dogfish.
Okay, so it was Free Street Tavern or something for a while, and we did open mic there. So he had 4 open mics in like a year and a half time frame. I wasn't even old enough to go, but he sneaked me in the back door. I carry in some equipment and shit, and like, that was my in, you know. Started to notice like, and that whole scene was like, as soon as I came on the scene and Chip started introducing me to people, especially other producers who were on the scene already, and like he played some beats like, yo, check this out. I would get questioned like so hard about what are you using to produce with? That was the first always like the first question, right? Because they want to be snobby about that. Oh, if you don't have an MPC, then you're not a real producer. You know what I'm saying? Which I was using FL Studio at the time, which was really new to the scene in early 2001. Right. And so, like, that became a thing, right? And so everybody hated on me for that. Second thing would be like, I always get questioned about, because I sampled a lot of stuff. Sample heavy on everything. Oh, what's that sample? You know, name that sample game, right? So like they play beats of theirs, and be like, can you name this sample, huh? Like if you name it, it'd be like, you're not real hip hop. Like,
right, yeah.
That was the whole game and the whole scheme of things. So I would see that a lot, and then I would see people just beefing about the dumbest shit. And like you weren't the exact same style of like rapper that they liked or they were trying to emulate or whatever, then you were just whack. You know what I'm saying? If you're trying to be, they're trying to be like a certain style and you're commercialized, so you're trying to be that kind of style. Like they just were, it would always clash. And so like it was good, and always is good to see that the Money of the Minds and the rap nights come out of that, because you go to those two things and it's the complete opposite of that. And it's like like you said, it's like the training wheels. You can't just go and make a bunch of songs and not do any live performances, and then you've got like 5 fucking albums of songs out, but you've never done any live shows, and then try to put together a live show with a bunch of fucking songs. It's really hard because you don't know what song. You just got a lot to go through and try to remember. So to get in there early and be able to do the live stuff with some stuff early on and get those jitters off would have been really helpful in those early days, as far as being in a whole, because it was a whole different environment. You know what I'm saying? If it was back then, I feel like a lot more people would have came out of the scene in Portland than they're coming out now. Like there's so many different like vibes coming out of Portland. It isn't like back in the day where everybody was just a fucking, they wanted to be Anacon, or they wanted to be fucking you know, Idea and Abilities and fucking Slug from Atmosphere. Like that's what everybody wanted to be. And if you weren't trying to be that, then you were an outcast. You know what I'm saying? And now it's like you got people who are trap rappers, people who are sing rappers, people who are doing like completely different, all coming out of Maine, which is fucking crazy. And a lot of them are getting love from fucking elsewhere, which is amazing too. So before, I felt like when the poverty era of Maine and like the early Spose era of Maine, where people think of those people as like the Maine rappers or whatever, it was like way different than it is now. And I think it's way better now than it was. And I think it shows a lot to the culture of art, not just music, but art as a whole in the state of Maine. Is a great scene for fucking art, paintings, drawings. You know, there's some great graffiti here in this fucking state. If you've ever traveled around and seen like Peaks Island and other places, Portland and everywhere else, I just think it's a really great place. I've been around, you know, you've been around, I've been around a bunch of different fucking places, and of all the places, to be honest, I mean, New England and Maine especially is just like I feel most at home here. And I've been around like trying to find somewhere like, yo, I want to be here, and it's just not the same.
Well, no, Maine, the music scene here, and like I said, I've only been here 5-6 years, so I don't know the history as much, you know, as people who grew up here. And that's what I've noticed a lot of too. A lot of people that I've met here are from Maine. Like they've grown up here, they've been around for a long time, they've seen a lot of different things here. But the one thing that I notice here, just in the music scene, is it's so welcoming wherever you go. Like I've been fortunate enough to interact with people from all different genres of the scene. I've, you know, gone to Blue for jazz night and watched them, and been able to sit in with like Joe Beninati and like, you know, Kyle Friday and like freestyle while they play. And then I'll go watch, you know, Viva, or I'll go somewhere else and, you know, watch singer-songwriters. Like one of the big things that I did when we were able to go do stuff is I went to the Great Open Mic at Empire, and Kari and Luna, who are two fantastic singer-songwriters here, host that, and I would go rap there every single Monday pretty much. And a lot of times I'd be the only rapper, you know, at that time, and it exposed me to a lot of different people in the scene. I met a lot of different people, you know. And it's important because for hip hop, and that's like another thing that's so great about Minds, is like there aren't a lot of open mics for hip hop, you know, like at least around, not here, you know, like it's intimidating to walk into an acoustic open mic as a hip hop artist and try to rap for people that don't really listen to rap, you know. I suggest any rapper who like considers themselves like a lyrical rapper, I suggest that you go do it, because those audiences care a lot about lyrics. That's what singer-songwriters do. And if you are a genuinely lyrical rapper and you can do it in a good way, and you're good at it, they'll like you. Like they'll embrace you. So it's very intimidating because there's a lot less bass, and you kind of have to rely on that internal like heartbeat of yourself, because sometimes you have to do like acapellas and shit. But
Yeah.
if you're a lyrical artist, I suggest going to acoustic open mics and let them know, hey, I'm a hip hop artist. I can do it as a spoken word if you want, whatever, and rap your raps, and you'll get a lot of new appreciation from people that would have never heard you otherwise.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, it's such a connected scene, and it's so small here, like everybody knows everybody. That was
Yep.
another thing, and that was one thing that I benefited from living with my grandmother for that time on the mountain. When I first moved up to live with her, I mean, Beach Mountain, North Carolina is a town of 300 people, like, year round. And the first thing she told me when I moved there was, don't tell anybody anything you don't want everybody knowing. And I take that with me wherever I go, and you can't walk around town and not run into somebody who knows somebody else. You can't go to a show and not see somebody who you saw at the other show who knows so-and-so, whose cousin so-and-so, whose brother is this, like, everybody's connected, which I think keeps a lot of people honest. You can't fuck around here. You can't be a dick, That's one thing I love about the main scene is you have to be a good person for people to want to mess with you. Like, your talent is secondary to how you are when you're around people.
Yeah, exactly. For sure. But Maine has always kind of been that way, regardless of his music or not. You know what I'm saying? But there's obviously problems too that Maine could address. But for the most part, being that I've been around other places, Arizona, Florida, fucking, it's definitely one of the easiest places to live at as far as cost of living and the policing. You don't see too much police brutality issues out this way and shit that other places have big metropolis type cities and shit have to deal with. But you get a lot of fucking state too. Like, people could live here for like as long as you, and I bet you've never seen all the places you could be in Maine. And I lived my whole life in these places I haven't fucking been. So, like,
there are towns without names.
Yeah, exactly.
That's crazy to me.
Some of them. So
that's crazy.
Yeah, so like it's a great state to get out and fucking check out, and you could take a whole lifetime really to check it out. But the music and art scene, I think, is just really unique here. And I always shout that out. I got Dynamo P paintings up there behind me.
Shout out to Dynamo P, Kid Calvin. One thing I will say though, because I love Money in the Mines, I love the inclusivity of Money in the Mines, but I also believe in getting booed. Like, I think that people need to get booed and told they suck if they suck. Like, I've got booed many times. I've been told that I suck many times. Like, I do think if you're going to be an artist and you're going to put yourself out there, like, and perform and do that, like, you got to be ready to take that. And I think there's a lot to learn from that kind of stuff.
Yeah, definitely can do it in the right way too, like being as constructive as you can be.
Yeah. Well, and you have to be exposed to jerks, like, like, because you're not going to travel. If you want to travel around and do shows, you're going to have to deal with it. You have to know how to deal with it. And, I've been cussed at. I've been, like I said, the first show I ever did, that lady gave us the finger the whole time. Like, I've had people stand right next to the stage and talk to me while I'm rapping, telling me to stop because no one likes you. And while there's a crowd there vibing to the songs, there's someone here saying nobody fucking likes you, you're terrible, and you having to keep rap. You can't just stop rapping, like, because no one can hear this guy except for you and maybe the person next to them. Like, no one on the other side knows that that's happening. Like, you have to be able to deal with those kinds of things if you're gonna do it at any kind of level.
Yeah. For sure. That's like you said, we talked about it earlier. The fucking hardest part is performing, like getting to that level where you're comfortable just letting things slide right off and you got all your fucking lyrics down and shit like that. But getting to there is the hardest fucking part. A lot of people aren't built to just get up in front of people and fucking perform. Some people it comes naturally, but for the most part, I think it takes a little bit of practice and fucking whatever to kind of break through and get into a groove. And then every time you make new music, it's just like you said, practicing constantly in the fucking car over and over and over and over. Where you practice,
or going to open mics.
Going to open mics.
Open mics are huge, man.
Yep. All right. So what are like, if someone was like, yo, like, give me a project or a song or whatever that you've released that I've never heard you at all, but this project or this release in particular would kind of best describe your whole your whole fucking persona, like in a nutshell, what would be, you know, that type of what would that project be, you think?
I did a song called Slow Cooker that I just recorded it here in the house because I was doing a thing where I was like releasing a song every Monday and putting them up on my Bandcamp, and I was making the beats, writing, doing the artwork, and putting it up, and it was more like an exercise than just creativity. So I wasn't really worried about production stuff, but I made this beat, and the beat fucking slaps hard. And
That's
every time I
right?
Yeah, every time I perform it, every time it hits, I'm like, damn, I did that. Like, that's crazy. And like I need to find the session and go back and just like see what I did to like make that happen.
Yeah.
But that one, like, it's fun, it's light, there's like some poignant lyrics, there's funny lyrics, because I like to be funny. Like, I talk about a lot of heavy shit in my music, but I think the best way to do that is to also splice in some humor, because you can only take someone talking about heavy stuff so much before you cut it off. Like, you got to be funny. Like, you know, I hear a lot of people like, oh, the inner workings of my mind are fucking blah. And I'm like, bro, you're depressing the shit out of me right now. You know, like, you have to have that. Yeah, you have to have that humor to keep people listening, to keep people engaged, and they snap out of it, they snap back in it. And I think that song is a lot of fun. I like to dance around. I made a little dance for it. It's fun. It's fun to perform. So that one, and then the Notes from the Corner of a Room, that's the first time, because I made all those beats on that project, and that's the first time that I ever put any instrumentals that I made out, and like anything that I rapped out. So that one like meant a lot to me. And there's a difference as a writer, like writing over something that you made the music to, as opposed to writing over a beat that you got. And I like both processes, but like when you make the music, that's all you. It's coming out of you. It's pulling stuff out of you, that it's all like kind of cohesive. So that album to me sounds different than other things that I've rapped on, like with you or with Graphic Melee, or you know, it sounds different to me because I'm like, oh shit, like this is very, like, all of it's very personal. But I also like rapping over other people's beats because you pull something out of me that maybe I didn't think of, you know what I mean? Or I'm saying something in a way that I would have never said it on my own, but because you gave me a page to write it on, I can write it in a certain way that I probably would have never done before. And I really like that process too.
Yeah. I've done it both ways too. Record and make the beat, then record on it and engineer it all, and nobody ever sees it but me until it comes out.
Right.
And I've done it the other way where, you know, I've hopped on someone else's stuff, and it's like 50-50 for me, you know, because I make so many beats, and I'll just like make a beat and I'm like, all right, the beat's done, and I'll just move on. And like, sometimes I won't listen to it, but once in a while a beat will, like, I'll be like, oh, I really like this one. And then I'll start the whole process. Like, I'll be like, oh, this is a vibe. And I'll kind of start right from there. I'll be like, all right, I'm going to write to this one, and I'll start writing to it. And those always come out great. But then when I get beats from other people, like you said, it's a whole nother vibe. Sometimes you just can think a whole different way.
Right.
I like that, because a lot of times, like, my drums are a lot, I switch it up, but I like my drums are a certain way, you know what I'm saying? So like if I hear other producers and they got like some grittier, like I don't do a lot of like drum loops in my beats, and I do sometimes, but a lot of it is programmed drums, you know what I'm saying? So like when I hear a beat, especially one that's got like a dope break beat on it, or like a drum loop on it that's obviously a loop and not like I kind of like those, especially, you know, there's a kid who was works with us here at barsoverbars, Nick Lovin. He loves doing that. It's like almost a lot of his beats were like that. It's all like sampled off a record style drum like loops,
right?
And I love shit like that. But for me, making that isn't really my style. But if someone hands me that beat, like, I'm always like, I'm gonna murder this. For me, like, that's how it is. 50-50 for me. Like, I've been making beats.
I like that feeling too, and it's only a feeling that you get when someone sends you a beat, is when you hear it, you're like, oh, I'm gonna fucking tear this up, you know? Like when you're making the beat, like it's like a process, you know, you've heard it over and over. It's like, all right, it's more of like a formulaic thing that you're coming up with as you're going. But that first time that someone sends you a beat and you play it, like, I'll know, because immediately I'll start like mumbling. You know, immediately I'll start like, like start developing a cadence and all that kind of stuff. And it just like happens naturally. And I love that feeling. That feeling is like the greatest feeling.
I hadn't rapped in a while, and then I heard A-Rap music back in like 2011, 2010, 2011, 2012. He's putting out all these beat tapes and shit like that, and I was just hearing his beats, and I'm like, oh my god, these are fucking amazing. And it was just like every beat, I was like, I'd write a verse. I was at the time I was like just starting going to college, so I had a lot of free time, and I had fucking like, you know, time, because I was at home all the time and I was going to school, and then in between I would just be writing, and it was like every beat that I heard inspired me to fucking write. And then I made that mixtape. It's like all A-Rap music beats, and the songs weren't like structured like typically a song would be, but it was like I'd write a verse and a hook, and I'd do that, that'd be a song, or I'd do like a verse and a hook and a verse, and I'd be done. And it was just like I wrote until I felt like, you know, that was it, and I wasn't trying to push it. Like I wasn't like, I gotta have 3 verses for this. It was like I wrote it, and I'm like, all right, this is good. I can cut the fucking beat wherever and fade it out, no issue. And it came out pretty fucking dope, and it kind of got me back into the swing of things, because I hadn't really been making. I had been making beats. I didn't really ever stop doing that, but I hadn't been like rapping or writing for a few years up to that point. And I think that starting to go to college and like learning new things sparked tons of fucking creativity too in my fucking head. Especially since it was so late, like in my life. It wasn't like right out of fucking high school, go right to college and do that. It was like I had a period of time in my life where I experienced shit like going to jail, being homeless, being addicted to drugs. You know, it wasn't a long period of time, but it was a period of time, you know what I'm saying? And then, so I already had that experience and those fucking things I had to deal with. And then I came into the school thing with a whole fucking different perspective on everything.
Oh, for sure.
And like really wanting to gain the knowledge and learn things that I felt like I missed out on. I was like, I missed this shit. And so like that really helped me. But like really what it was hearing the fucking A-Rap music beats and watching them make the beats on the fucking MPC. It fucking inspired me like 1,000%. And I'm like, I have to fucking step my game up, and I've got to fucking do this better, and I've got to make this mixtape where I'm rapping over these fucking beats, because they were that great. They still are. And it's like he makes the trappy drill fucking like style beats and shit like that, but if you the creation process is what does it for me. How he's able to just fly through the shit on the MPC, because I'm using MPC, and it's not easy to just fly around and do the shit that he does. It takes a lot of fucking. He has been hunched over that thing for a number of years, just fucking like, crazy, like to get to where he's at. So I totally respect that guy, and he's from New England too, which is pretty cool.
Oh, so nice! I did not know that.
Rhode Island, so.
I love the rhythm roulettes. I love watching. Watching them make beats like that. My favorite producer is Apollo Brown, and he's like, to me, his beats are like so good, and the way he's able to, because I love the fact that he picks rappers and artists to do projects with, and like, you know, he'll do something with Locksmith or Shay Noir or Joel Ortiz or OC. He's got a new project coming out with Raheem Devon, and like every time, you know, it's Apollo Brown, you can tell from the sound, but he also complements the artist that he's with, and like that's a skill that I think a lot of people don't recognize, is that like to be a producer of beat, and not just like I make beats, but like to be a producer, like you got to have the ability to like maintain your sound while being flexible with who you're working with and all this kind of stuff, and like having the ear to know like what artist is going to sound good over certain beats and stuff like that. Like there's so much craft that goes into that.
There's a lot of that, because especially people like Demon Dog, like I had a bunch of beats, and I had to figure out what I wanted to send to him, so it was like me studying what he's put out.
For sure.
And picking shit. Same with Shane Rise too. It took me a long time to hone in on what type of beats he would want. I had sent him so many beats, and it was just like a lot of it I don't think was really hitting for him. And then I sat and I spent some time just listening to his more recent catalog of shit, and I was able to like not only make some beats that I felt fit what his style would be, but then go back through and pick, you know what I'm saying? And I hit him with a little package to check out, and now he's actually picked a few beats out. So like that is a whole nother like side of producing and shit that you don't really talk about, but trying to keeping your style, but then fitting it with different people. Like I worked with you, Shamik did whole project with you guys, and and the whole shit that I wanted to do with the Tri-Town Legacy album that I did was kind of along that same lines too. You know, I had to kind of fit their styles too. So yeah, it's like half the battle is making the beat, and then the other half is fucking finding the artists that will fit best on those beats that you make.
Absolutely.
Random when I make a beat, it's not like I go in thinking I'm gonna make a beat in G minor and I'm gonna fucking
Right,
do this.
right.
You just go in and you make the beat, and then after
Right.
you're like, damn, I think so and so would be dope on this or
Yeah,
whatever. But yeah, that's kind of how it goes with fucking beat making or whatever for me.
Yeah.
But yeah, so let's, what time is it? 9:46. All right, let's talk about if you got some new upcoming projects that like aren't out yet that you're going to be releasing soon. Why don't you tell us about that and what your creation process was like for that? And
yeah, for sure. I got a couple things coming out with a dude named Southbound Beats.
Yeah.
And that came about. I was doing the van jams pretty regularly, and he hit me up. He saw one of them and was like, yo, I send out beat snippets every month. Can I send you one and you can do a van jam with it, whatever? I was like, yeah, cool, send it over. And like, I love the beats. And so I did a van jam with it. Next month, he sent me another one. I did a van jam with it, and I kept sending them back to him. And he's like, yo, like, these are dope. I'm going to make a beat for you and send it to you. And I was like, all right, cool. And he sent me a beat, and I started writing to it. And then I reached out to Hannah Harleen, who's a friend of mine and probably one of the best vocalists in the area.
Yeah.
And she's on it. And so that'll be coming out. It's getting mixed down and stuff like that now, but that'll be coming out probably this summer sometime. I had a buddy of mine who I used to play hockey with at UCF hit me up, and he made beats, and he's like, yo, I had these beats lying around. Saw like the van jams are dope. Do whatever you want with them. And I did a couple van jams with him, so I'll probably record some of those. And then really I'm focusing a lot right now. Like, shows are coming back. I'm trying to avoid the making up for lost time type mindset where I like have to do a whole bunch of shit right away to like, because we were gone for a year or whatever. Cause like, I don't want to do that. Like, I don't want to overload everything right now. Like, you know, I didn't really get I was working like a shit ton over the last year, like 70 hours a week, like craziness. I was working like a ton. And so I'm doing shows. I got shows coming up. The 19th, I'll be performing at Yes Brewery. You know, do the Monday the Minds things. I'm gonna be doing the Hip Hop on the Hill in July. But just yeah, that's gonna be fun. I'm excited for that one. But just kind of focus on getting back, like, you know, I'm always working on music. Like, I'm always writing stuff, and I like doing like 3-song, 4-song EPs, like we were talking about earlier. And I try to release a couple of those a year, if I can. But really my focus is going to be going to shows, like not even necessarily performing, but as I see people that I know doing shows again, just going to shows and watching shows again. Like, I miss that. Like, I miss that, you know?
Sure.
So a lot of that is going to be my focus for at least this year. And then just kind of get back into that swing of things. And, you know, hopefully Regular Minds comes back soon. I know Rap Night in New Hampshire is coming back tonight. It's happening right now. So that's good. But yeah, just kind of getting back into things like that, and then focusing a lot on my artwork, my illustration and stuff. I want to start doing that more for other people. You know, designing album covers, designing merch for people.
I was actually gonna mention that to you. I got a single that I'm gonna be putting out there pretty soon, and called Spirits, which I was gonna say, since I figured out that not too long ago that you do all that artwork. I was gonna see what you could come up with for it. And I hit you with
for sure
ideas or whatever.
Yeah, we could definitely talk about it. Like, that's definitely, because I love to draw. Like, as much as I love music, and love performing specifically, writing songs and recording songs is a pain in the ass. Like it feels like work a lot of the times, because it requires, like, you know, it's a lot of self-examination, and it's a lot, especially the way that I write, you know, it's a lot of critical thinking of myself, especially. And so I don't like to do it a lot of times, But with drawing, like I love to draw. Like I love to sit and draw. Like it's fun. It's relaxing. It makes me feel good. Like it's a very good feeling. So I like to do that. So I'm trying to make it a point to do that more often than I was before.
Definitely. I like all the artwork too. It's like unique and everything.
I appreciate it.
Yeah. So, and I noticed on the album cover, the little dude, that's you, right? When you was a kid, right? So
Yeah.
the little dude is wearing Iversons.
Oh yeah, I gotta have the Iversons, dude.
The Iversons that I skipped that year.
The answer fours.
Yeah, I didn't get the fours, and I went with. Oh, I can't remember what I went with, but I think it might have been the Jordan, the white and black with the patent leather. Those Jordan.
Okay.
I think those are the ones I went with that year. For some reason, I had every Iverson, all three before that one, and so I noticed that when you did that on the thing, it was crazy.
Dude. Iverson was like my favorite basketball player, and that's probably my favorite shoe of all time with the zip and it's so. I love that shoe. I love that shoe.
Those were so dope, but it was like I had problems with the I think it was the second one that had the black had the patent leather all over it, and it had little circular parts on the heel.
Yep.
I had a problem with those ones where I had them for like not even 3 months, and the air in there would go ever.
Oh yeah, no. I skipped those. Yeah. Like I got the questions, which are great, very comfortable shoes. I still have a pair. And then the answer fours, and then the fives, which had like the shiny kind of like buckle looking thing that's not really a buckle, but those were the ones that I had. The fours are, I just think they're so clean looking. And that's the step over where he walked over Tyronn Lue like that. I mean, that was like Iverson, like like that shoe is like.
Yeah, Iverson was my fucking player coming up too.
Oh yeah,
fucking Georgetown, fucking rip people apart. And man, like he seemed to be fucking crazy. He was a tiny guy. I was like, dude's like,
and he was hip hop, dude. Like Iverson was hip hop in the NBA. Like they made dress codes because of Iverson.
Yeah, my dad called Iverson one time. I was like, it was like 97, so I was like 13 years old. I was wearing baggy ass fucking FUBU jeans and shit around the house, and it had a press conference. He was talking about practice, right? My dad was like, this guy's a fucking punk and like all this other shit, and I'm just like, this is my favorite player, and like he's a punk. He dresses like fucking like a thug and all this other shit, and I'm like, all right. Taking note of that. Make sure to dress more like Allen Iverson.
Yeah, right.
Where can I find do-rags?
No. I mean, he was just
thinking after that.
He was so good. And then obviously, being from Miami, Dwayne Wade and like Alonzo Mourning and that whole thing. Shaq. I mean, like Shaq. I don't consider him a Heat. I mean, he's a Laker. He does have a ring, and he was great for Dwayne Wade, like coming in and being able to learn from Shaq. But like that team where they had UD, Shaq, Alonzo, Dwayne Wade, like when you had Shaq and Alonzo on the court together, just like side by side, just swatting people out of here. Oh my god.
Yeah, and Udonis Haslem, bro, still there.
Oh yeah, dude. He's Miami through and through. I think he went to like Miami High. Like he's Miami. I was just reading an article on him. He gives like such a locker room presence to all the young guys. They don't even want him to leave. They're like paying him $2.5 million a year to sit on the It's like he didn't even dress for a lot of the games.
Yeah, and the coaching staff and everybody, they say it's worth it to have his mentorship there, and that every team should have somebody like that they keep around. So yeah, shout out to him. He's 40 years old. I think I read in that article.
Yeah, he's a man.
He said had no stopping. That's what he said. I'm still here.
And he's in great shape. Like I follow him on Instagram. Like he's always working out. He's in incredible shape.
At any time if he had to. Yeah. Without having to play, he played like 40 games the past 3 years. So I mean, that's saving your body. You know what I mean?
Yeah, for sure. When they need him. I mean, I'm hoping they make big moves. Maybe go out and get Dame Lillard or something like that.
Man, so I'm hoping they make some big fucking moves too. They've been doing some weird shit lately, and I'm like, I don't know.
For the Celtics?
Yeah, I don't know.
I don't know what they're doing.
Me either. But been a roller coaster, I'll tell you that much. That's all I know.
Yeah.
And we made it to this far, and then this year we come back, we're a 500 team, and I'm like, damn, what happened? And then it's like, I thought the whole time I'm saying Brad Stevens getting fired, and what I think happened was Brad Stevens signed an extension last year. He got 4 years at $30 million a year, some shit left, and they didn't want to be on the hook for that and get absolutely nothing out of it. But they didn't want to be a coach anymore, and they're like, look, we have two options: you're not a coach anymore, and or you can be the GM.
Yeah,
we could figure that out. And I think that they'd be saving money if they're paying him $30 million a year to be the GM. So it's a win-win for them. But if he doesn't pan out, you know what I'm saying, he can always come back to coaching. That's the thing. Not saying for the Celtics, but he's still a coach. So like if GM don't work out next year, the year after, or when his contract's up, he could bounce the fuck out. But I'm hoping that they make some moves because they need to do that. And I'm hoping that they get a decent coach. I was thinking any coach that's got a little color to him, to be honest.
Yeah,
there's a lot of black coaches that deserve to be a fucking coach right now, and I feel like the way that the Celtics have been operating is very white.
Yeah,
and, not to say that I don't know. They have to know this. They have to know.
I'm sure
it's obvious, but they've got to save face, I think, and I think they should bring in a black coach. And because there's so many that are out there that aren't working, which just fucking blows my mind, dude. Mark Jackson, Chauncey Billups, like, come on, these guys should be fucking coaching. They've spent many years coaching and being in the league, and they have the experience. Mark Jackson brought fucking Golden State pretty much to where they're at, where Steve Kerr was running them. You know what I mean? He was basically there, but built the championship team. It didn't really get to.
I mean, as a South Florida sports fan, I don't want the Celtics to do well. And like last year was great because the Patriots finally did not do well. And like, I've been living up here for 6 years. I listen to sports talk radio when I drive, and all I have to hear, like, listen to is how Tom Brady is the greatest thing ever and the Patriots are unbeatable forever. And every year I'm like, it's gonna happen. It's gonna happen that he's gonna leave one day and he's not gonna be there. But then I had it in my mind, I was like, they might never lose again. Like, Tom Brady just might play forever, whatever. And it's like it started to get to the point after like 4 or 5 years of saying like he's got to stop sometime. It started just like he's never going to stop playing, and he's always going to keep winning. But crazy. Last year was it was a great year. Fitzmagic came through a couple times. Had the
Yeah, I'm amazed at Tom Brady's fucking career.
It's
man. I don't
crazy,
follow
dude.
Football as much as I do basketball, but I mean, I've obviously know about Tom Brady. And it's insane that he bounced out and fucking still was able to pull it together. And the year prior, like, who the fuck was Tampa Bay? You know what I'm saying?
The same team that Jameis Winston couldn't get to the same team that Jameis Winston could not get to the playoffs. Tom Brady won a Super Bowl with. Like, that's how good he is. Like, that's like it's crazy. I can't hate on Tom Brady. I hate Tom Brady, but I can't hate on Tom Brady.
Right.
Like, he is the GOAT. Like, he is the greatest of all time.
Hell yeah. All right, so pretty much this would be where we're wrapping up, man. So like, I don't know if you want to do something live or you want me to play a couple songs off the Spotify, whatever you want to do.
Yeah, if you want to play a couple songs, because I actually can't. I don't know why my audio interface isn't working, but I can't monitor anything that I'm putting into it right now.
Cool. So like, how about you pick any one of your songs that I got up on Spotify, and I'll pick one. We'll play them.
I think Slow Cooker's on there. It's under the first 6 or whatever. It's the yellow cover. Yeah. It's not mixed that well, but it still goes.
All right, and we already got the backstory on this one. You made the beat, and it's one of your favorite songs to perform and shit.
Oh, I love performing this song.
Yeah. All right, so let's check it out. Slow Cooker, Lunar Landing.
Yeah. I'd love to move into the heart of the city, find an apartment with parking and no charge for my kitty. But nowadays that would cost me an arm and a titty, and those I can't afford to lose. So what to do? I pity fools who choose to lose sleep and claim they're chasing dreams, but all they seem to produce are reams of obscenities, cliched phrases, played out styles and enemies. I'm on a quest to civilize through rhymes and melodies. Hello, I'm the fellow least likely to want a confrontation, but just because I avoid them does not mean that I can't take them. Never fake unless that bacon serves me best in the long run. Like Bruce Wayne, out in public pretending to be on one. I yawn at your bronze son, not impressed with your flex pecs. Just convex sets of muscles doubling as headrest. Maybe sending a sex text or use when you chest press. But to me it's more important that they rise with my next breath. I'm dancing through the city like la la la, laughing at the people, worry about the top spot. I stay hungry, work ethic in a crock pot, slow cooking to produce the tenderest nom-noms. I'm dancing through the city like la la la, laughing at the people, worry about the top spot. I stay hungry, work ethic in a crock pot, slow cooking to produce the tenderest nom-noms. I hope to blow like pop rocks mixed with soda in kids' bellies. I go with the flow like mint jelly and lamb chops. The knowledge my fam drops, I'm quick to apply. See in my eyes, I am not to be trifled with. The pressure gets me eyeful stiff. I rise to the occasion, apply ice into the cake with a piping kid. I'm nice with it. I like to tip 20% when I eat at restaurants. Imagine crazy scenarios so I can pick the best response. A proper red savant, I'm anxious, so I learn my knots and loosen them. My crew moves towards a better human renaissance. So witches grab your pentagons and signal to the great beyond. Begone the throngs of demons who would try and harm our debutantes. I'll bring the coffee croissants and buttered biscuits, hominy grits mixed with cheddar. I bet no one who can resist it. Better off labeled a misfit than fitting into faulty systems. My resistance will be peaceful and persistent till they listen as we go dancing through the city like la la la, laughing at the people, worry about the top spot. I stay hungry, work ethic in a crock pot, slow cooking to produce the tenderest nom-noms. Dancing through the city like la la la, laughing at the people, worry about the top spot. I stay hungry, work ethic in a crock pot, slow cooking to produce the tenderest nom-noms.
Hell yeah. Slow cooking to produce the tenderest nom-noms.
Nom-noms.
Oh man, I love it.
Yes, sir.
Hell yeah. So I'm gonna pick one of our songs, obviously.
Yeah, for sure.
Dial Me for Comfort, which
Yep.
I think is another dope one that you know, when I got everything back, when I finally heard everything, not through a Van Jam or whatever, I was just blown away, dude. You know, to be honest, I was just like,
Thanks,
yes.
dude.
I was like, this is kind of exactly the outcome I wanted. Now, my OCD was telling me we need to make a project. It needs to be 10, 12, 15, whatever, but it doesn't. And like you said, rather have the EP that you can listen to straight through and fucking not have to be like, oh, what is that one? And I felt like you really like hit it out of the park with this particular one. This whole project is what I'm saying. You know what I'm saying? So, yeah, Dial Me for Comfort. Here's the last one we'll play for tonight.
Hell yeah.
Y'all, clean house, clean living, clean mind. Y'all worry about yours and I'ma worry about mine. See, it's easy to get caught up in the bullshit that's online. Whenever I need a breather, I make a break for the tree line. Inhale the sweet pine and exhale on my stresses. I see the game going to foul, and I don't know what the rep is. You go to the basket, you get hacked, it's part of the sport. I see a loose ball, you know I'm going hard to the court. I put the work in, no swerving, I'm in my lane laughing. Got my cruise control set, peace sound while y'all passing. I'm not trying to keep up, I'm just enjoying the ride. I got some snacks, good tunes, and a girl by my side. You know the one that's down for life, and her I confide. My deepest, darkest secrets, now I never have to hide. Some people hear it through the grapevine and assume that it's true, or read it on their timeline and believe that it's news. Maybe you do, maybe you don't. We all know both types. I could deep fake my newborn just to get some more post likes. And technology so good, I mean, how would you know, right? Some stories are Rufio, they just don't grow right. It used to be you find a true pan on the newsstand. Now people treat the papers like dogs learning to piss. Blogs give you a glimpse into a so-called life where they fabricate stories just to get some more likes and exaggerate headlines because it causes more fights, conflicts, and currency. They're investing in the plight of mankind. Do love a little more and you'll be fine. The crack will get us all in the end. Can't you hear that time ticking rhyme? Stick to your ribs like southern dishes. Make it pop like the grease in the skillet. I fry my fish and it'll warm you to the core. Throw your blankets on the floor. Building forts out of nothing more than chair backs and sofa cushions. I see a button and I feel like I'm supposed to push it. I find my peace in honesty PTSD. Sometimes I overlook it, hid behind discomfort. I was designed to suffer, cause I was born into a body that in time will self-destruct. All I can do is make sure I'm ready to go when it happens. And if not, it doesn't matter, cause it's still gonna happen. I might as well make peace with what I can while I can, so I can go content in the end. I can't say I'll make it so you never feel lonely. I can say I'll be there when you're feeling alone, whether in person or it's over the phone. If ever you have a problem, you can call on me. I can't say I'll make it so you never feel lonely. I can say I'll be there when you're feeling alone, whether in person or it's over the phone. If ever you have a problem, you can call on. See, I used to go to shows and serve CDs out the backpack. Now I'm just being close enough to give you a hug. I used to have dreams of throwing D's on a Cadillac. Now I just want to be in the same room with people I love. Growing up, my crew was close-knit. We learned as kids to be comfortable using language to express how we felt within. Developed a kinship that survived through the decades, cause we all chose to navigate change in the best way. Switching lanes on expressways till we found the right path. Go our separate directions, and then we brought it all back to the group. Sharing truths we discovered with each other. Man, I am who I am cause I was loved by my brothers, my father, my mother, my sister, my cousins, aunts, uncles. Dinner table with grandma, holding her hands while she struggled with the fact that she was coming to the end of this life. I watched her go into a permanent night like, I can't say I'll make it so you never feel lonely. I can say I'll be there when you're feeling alone, whether in person or it's over the phone. If ever you have a problem, you can call on me. I can't say I'll make it so you never feel lonely. I can say I'll be there when you're feeling alone, whether in person or it's over the phone. If ever you have a problem, you can call on me. You can call on me. Call on me. You call whenever you like. The day or the night, you can call me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like that one.
Yeah, man. The fucking singing and shit. You can really hear my fucking my Dr. Dre influence on that.
Right?
Oh man, yeah. The drums, the drums, they're snapping just like the definite Dr. Dre in there. I love the whole vibe of that whole shit though.
Yeah, man.
And yeah, man, I can't wait to make another one.
Oh, for sure. That
So,
will definitely be a part 2.
Hell yeah, I'm working on part 2 with Sleeping Giant with fucking Shamik too. So
Hell yeah.
Getting started with that, and it'd be good to get whenever you want to do that, I'm fucking down. So
Hell yeah, dude.
yeah, and yeah, I mean that pretty much wraps it up. If you got any political causes, any final shouts, plugs, anything you want to ask me or my cousin, whatever, man, shout outs, whatever, this is it.
No, I mean, I appreciate hanging out with you guys. It was fun, man.
Hell yeah.
UFO talks, music talks, people, TikTok lighting people on fire talks. I mean, we really ran a wide range of topics. It's a good time, man. It's a good. I appreciate you guys doing stuff like this. Things like this are important. It's important to know your local artists.
Yeah, of course, and the network and to just learn about
it. Sure,
is good. But yeah, man, we'll definitely do this again in the future. We'll get
for sure.
For when I start doing the fall ones, October, November time. See what's up then.
Yeah,
and yeah, if you want to stick around for a second after we end the live stream, we can talk for a couple minutes about whatever for a few minutes.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's pretty much it for the episode tonight. Make sure you go check out aLunarlanding at aLunarlanding, or just fucking Google it, and it pops right up. So check them out, and we'll catch you next week. And be sure to check out the Whooshy Gang podcast is coming on tomorrow. I know he's going to have a pretty dope local New Bedford artist. Libsy will have on his show tomorrow, so that's going to be dope. I know I'm going to tune in because I'm always trying to find New Bedford artists that down in that area, because I love shooting music videos in New Bedford. So if I can get some artists down there want to shoot music videos, it's always a plus for me because it gives me an excuse to go down there. I don't know if anybody's been to New Bedford, Massachusetts, but it's not a place you think of, but it's pretty fucking dope out there. But yeah, so shout out, and that's it for tonight. Take it easy.